Ange, no clue, far from the plan. Tottenham stranded in shadows, no man's land. Lost on the pitch, echoes in the night. Fans screaming loud, no end in sight. Shift the blame like drifting sand. Promises empty, no steady hand. Wandering clueless in the football mist. Wishing for a twist, but nightmares persist. Shift the blame like drifting sand. Promises empty, no steady hand. Wandering clueless in the football mist. Wishing for a twist, but nightmares persist. Where's the Leo we waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season the same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind. Speechless, impressed, they're at the ground. No solutions, nowhere to be found. Fast on the side, hearts turn to stone. Stadium echoes a lonesome drone. Whispers in the air, they speak of change. Up on the horizon feels so strange. Question marks in every wayward pass. And close the future fading fast. Where's the Leo we waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season the same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind. Where's the Leo we waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season the same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
What's happening, everybody? It's Monday night, the best place to be in town if you're a Spurs fan. Not that it's good to be a Spurs fan right now, but welcome. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all the good stuff. You know the drill. If you've got any comments, put them in the chat. We'll go through them as the show goes on. If you've got any questions or topics you want us to discuss, get your super chats in and we will get to them. We've got a cracking panel tonight. In fact, this is a brilliant panel. I'm looking forward to this. We've got Iggy, got JP, Maz, Ian, and if you don't know who Simon is, go to We Are Tottenham TV, type in Leicester v Spurs 3-2. We did a watch along together when Bergwijn scored 2 goals in the last minute and Simon smashed up the studio. It was fantastic.
Videos were broken.
It's never been the same again. It's never been the same since.
There's still holes in the wall. I left my mark.
They've changed the desk. They've got new chairs now. They've rebuilt the studio since we were there. So there you go. Listen, guys, thanks for being here as always. We are going to talk about the game yesterday because we were supposed to do it on yesterday's show, but we didn't. But we will talk about it today. And we will talk about the current situation. But I do want to start off with this before we go around to the panel and say hello to everyone. It's been 5 years since we started protesting, most of us on this channel. 5 years since we got involved with the Levy out, ENIC out protesters who were doing it for way long before us. And it's not been easy, man. The journey has been full of a lot of hate, people laughing at us, being called every name under the sun. But finally, it might just seem like it was all worth it. It might. And we're going to talk about it because we need to talk about ENIC and we need to talk about Levy as much as Ange. So let's quickly go around and say hello to everyone. Iggy, how you doing, man? You good? Good week? Obviously, shit game yesterday, but
No,
Other than that?
football aside, things are great, man. No, I can't complain. Mustn't moan, mustn't grumble, and all of that. But no, or Spurs, rather than football, Spurs aside, everything's great, man. I cannot complain. Honestly, I hope you guys are the same.
Yeah, you can't think too much about football; it'll drive you crazy. JP, all good? Did you go to the game yesterday? I don't know if you went.
No, I didn't actually. I just, I've kind of had enough of it, to be honest. And that didn't even sell my ticket. I just thought, you know what, let that seat be empty. That'll be my voice. But I kind of got to a point yesterday, I guess, of just saying it hurts when Spurs lose, and I absolutely hate it. Absolutely hate it, even watching it on whatever TV screen or whatever. But do you know what? Zooming out for a little while, my main aim is to get rid of that board. Everybody says, oh, no, you can't do it. Doesn't matter if you do this, doesn't matter if you do that. But do you know what? Flirting with relegation is going to have an impact. It's going to impact the sponsors. It's going to impact shareholders for sure. They're going to have a moan and whinge about it. It's no good Tottenham playing in the Championship, right? So do you know what, Ange? I've got to think about the big picture. I'm thinking about my bigger picture. Selfish, I know, but it is
So what you're saying is it's the Titanic. The captain's crashed into an iceberg. Don't change the captain. Sink it. Sink this ship.
Yep.
Maz, how you doing, Maz? You all right?
Yeah, all good still. All good still. As good as we can be in these circumstances.
Yeah, that's it. As good as we can be. Lubo, you were at the game yesterday. There were messages on the internet saying it's the loudest ever Levy out chance. Is that true? Because under Conte, it got pretty loud.
I would say it was on a par with Nuno and Man United. Definitely.
Oh, really?
It was brilliant. It was brilliant. And I understand from people that stayed on after the game, they tried drowning them out for the next 10 minutes of the final whistle without success with their music. So, and can I just also say that for anyone asking about Allegri, I understand he's having a pizza in Pizza Express in Turin city centre tonight. So I don't think he's coming over. But the people that I normally hear information from are normally spot on that this guy was the first time. He did put the caveat in, not sure if it's true, which I did say. And obviously it turned out to be a red herring. But I'm sure at the moment they are looking at the moment for a new manager, and they're going to announce him. They're going to announce Ange's sacking as soon as they've got someone to take his place. I'm sure they can't be sitting there doing nothing.
So what you're saying is your sauce is ketchup.
Ketchup. It was last night, that's for sure.
Oh my lord. Si, how you doing? Listen, great to have you on the channel. Thanks for reaching out to come on. How you been? You been all right? Everything good?
My friend, yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Very happy to be here with all you guys. I think we're all sharing the same thoughts. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one because I think everyone's gone past the kind of tipping point, I think. Which is where I usually get reeled into video panels is when it's gone to shit. So, we are here.
So Simon's here for the doom and gloom. Awesome. Big up everyone in the chat. We've got almost 400 watching already. That's impressive. First 10 minutes. Thanks for being here. Get your comments in. We will go through them. So, where are we at? I personally started protesting because when I came across this, I realized what was going on. And this was when they first bought the club. I wasn't aware of this article until about 6 years ago, where they said the strategy is to build an international sports and entertainment group to profit from the media's interest. Nothing about trophies, nothing about glory, nothing about football. And effectively, that's what they did. Levy famously said, there is no passion here in football. This is purely financial. Purely financial. We chose football because it's the biggest money spinner. And you know what? He was spot on. Absolutely right what he said. This is why I got into Levy out, Enoch out. And this is why I began to beat the drum with Brian Daigle and most of you guys at the protests and whatnot. This is where we're at now. We've got the leisure centre, sports entertainment facility. The South Stand complex is currently being built. They've got the hotel at Hotspur Way, which they hire out for functions and international teams that come over to train. And the next phase of the project is to gentrify Northumberland Park and turn that into their next commercial venture. That's why, people, I'm Levy out. It's been 5 years. It's why we've been banging the drum on this channel. But finally, just maybe, the fans have now said, we agree. And the fan base has turned. YouTubers now constantly talking about it. I don't want to say gave people a kick up the arse, but I tried to nudge people into stop complaining, stop it, take action or stop it. And it looks like people are saying, you know what, we do maybe need to take some action. So I'm for one happy if that's where it goes next. And I'm more than happy to join it and let them lead whatever kind of demonstration, protest they want that fits within their kind of criteria of this is acceptable for us. Because maybe they didn't like the previous ones and there's another way. Cool. If everyone's up for it, I'm up for it. So I'll come to you first because you reached out to me on this. Enoch, Levy, the protests, where the fans are at now, what you think's going on next. Where are you at with this, Enoch and Levy? It's a hot topic at the club now, isn't it? It's the biggest topic, Enoch and Levy.
Yeah, I think as you say, still, like, a few years back, I'm in the Enoch out groups and things on WhatsApp. It's been something that's been going on in the background for a long time. I think you're always going to have that divide with the fan base. Even yesterday, after all the crap we've seen all this season, there are still people questioning, like, well, what owner are you going to have? What owner is going to come in and change things, do things differently this time? I was like, well, let's be frank here. Like 24 years of failure, basically. Coming in 2001, whenever it was, the valuation 80 million, 1.8 billion by 2019. That is phenomenal progress from a commercial perspective. I want to make something clear that Daniel Levy is a phenomenal businessman, like absolutely incredible from a commercial side. But we're not here for business. We're not here to be entertained by events, concerts, gigs, hotels around the corner. We're Spurs fans. We're Tottenham fans. We're football fans, first and foremost. And what they've done basically is taken everything that means so much to us and basically abused that. They've basically used that entirety of a football club to make as much money as possible, and that's what they've succeeded to do. So the Enoch out aspect of it's always been difficult at that very beginning stage because people are kind of, maybe on the fence with it, or perhaps just not really on board with it because they don't have an answer or they just think it's stupid. And you're having arguments with people in the state. It's ludicrous even today. The divide in the fan base is unbelievable. Like, we're supposed to be all together. We're supposed to be supporting the team first and foremost. But there's this narrative, that's built.
Sorry, do you think the fans have come together now, though? Do you think there's more unity on the Levy?
I think there's more than ever before. There is 100%, because we see that in the streets. Yes, we can do more, but let's make no mistake about it. There's some phenomenal people in this, like, Enoch out philosophy that are doing an incredible job to push this opinion and thought process. And the key critical thing is here, like, at the end of the day, we want what's best for our football club. And that is exactly what they are doing. If Daniel Levy turned around miraculously one day and started investing in a team and doing this and that and everything that we actually want, it's a completely different story. This is not a personal attack. Well, it kind of has become one over the last few years because nothing is changing. We are being abused like a business. We are being literally treated like a business, not a football club, not a football team. You can argue the points about things like the Bill Nicholson gates still aren't up, the statue's still not up, the legacy of Tottenham is disappearing over and over, ticket prices rises. My dad has been going to Spurs since the 60s, right? He's seen the double winning side. I'd love to have seen that, but his ticket prices are going up now. Can he afford to go? It's going to be a bit of a shock. I'm sitting there going, this is absolutely disgusting. Even a couple of years ago, we went through the pandemic situation. Daniel Levy's taking his bonuses, trying to strip the entire staff of the stadium and everything like this while he's making all the money. Same situation a year or so ago. We've taken his bonus, but rising the tick. I mean, the PR need to sort themselves out, of course, on that. So I think the more this adds to it, he's doing the job for us. he's making the job easier for the in and out narrative. Simple as that. And certainly the last 2 years, I think more and more people are coming together about this, becoming more unified with this scenario. There are still people that think he's doing a good job and we should continue in this manner. I'm like, well, why the hell are you coming to these games and saying that? Obviously to support the team first and foremost, like we all do. I go to watch my team and support them the best I can. But ultimately, I know nothing is going to change because of who is the chairman of this club. And let's remind each other that if someone was above Daniel Levy, he would have been sacked a long time ago from the football side of it. But he has no one to answer to. Zero. No one in any job in the whole entire world. You have been long gone decades ago. So he's abused it 24 years down the line. The success hasn't been there at all. We've come close. When we were close, that was the time to really invest. We didn't do it. I'm not going to go down the Pochettino route. We've talked about it all day long. So now we're stuck in this situation where fans are now having to try and bring the banners into the stadium. I fully commend everyone that did it yesterday. I got into a massive argument with stewards and security yesterday about freedom of speech and allowing people to bring in their thoughts and process. Honestly, the letter I wrote,
it's like South Korea. It's like South Korea at the day.
It was ludicrous. They started waffling on about fire safety certificates, so I asked them for the regulation. They couldn't give it to me, and then he started getting abusive and angry with me. So I started going, "What's your name?" He started walking off. Anyway, long story short, the fact of the matter is, like, the freedom of speech element. Like, it doesn't matter what that banner says, as long as it's respectful. It's not abusive to anyone or anything like that. It was factual. The one that you showed on screen just a minute ago, there's another one right in front of me, 2 rows in front of me, that I stood by and I was applauding exactly like that one. There was 2 or 3 of them in that south stand. We need more of them. I guarantee to you they're going to be checking everyone's pockets more so than ever before. Now those big posters came out there, but it's the first time where there's a lot more media attention, not on the protests outside, but actually on the banners. And for those that are asking, well, why didn't you do it during the match? Because of the respect. We have respect for each other as fans. And the reason why the guys in front weren't putting it throughout the game is because people would get annoyed that they can't see the game. It's why it was done at the end. And it was still enough to get the media attention that it did. It was on Match of the Day, it was on newspapers, this and the other. And to your point, Stel, I think we're getting to a critical point now where the media is fully on board with this narrative. They are talking on behalf of us now that actually players, managers, round in circles over and over again. Conte did his rant about it a few years ago. Now all of a sudden the attention is to the man above, who's actually responsible for this, responsible for the poor recruitment, the failure of this club as a football entity, and just the continuation of abusing it. He's abusing our club to make himself a lot of money, guys, a lot of money every year, including or on top of bonuses, whilst we are watching this absolute tripe. You can blame Ange all you want, of course. Yes, tactics, this, that, and the other. But the fact of the matter is we've got Ange because he was the 10th choice, because no one else wants to come. And we've been put in this position by this man. I don't know what more I can say, really. It is getting much stronger as a fan base. And I'm really pleased to see that. Took your narrative, Stel, or your process and procedure of that is to take a step back. Just let things happen. Let shit hit the fan, and then they'll come reeling back in 3 or 4 years. It could take 2 years, 5 years, whatever. Eventually, they will come to us, and hopefully unify even further than they already have. It was loud. The chants were loud yesterday.
The more we lose, the more we lose, the louder I think it'll get. Let me bring Ian in. Ian, there's one fear that I've got, and I was chatting to Brian about this today, and I think I spoke with Maz about it as well. If we win a couple of games, does this all go away, Ian?
If we win a couple of games,
like if we go through to that Carabao Cup final, is everyone going to say, "You see, Levy's done well. He brought in Ange. Ange has got us to that cup final. They're the right people. You know, calm down with the Enoch Levy out." Is that where we're at, Ian?
I don't see for 1 minute we're going to win a couple of games anytime soon. Just don't see it. I understand your thoughts. I understand your thought process. Still, yes, are the fans flip-floppy? Can they be bothered to really put heart and soul into this campaign? Well, all I'll say is that we've had 24 years with owners who have no interest in footballing success, that have used the club just to make themselves a profit. They spent 22 million originally for 29% of the shares, which they bought from Alan Sugar. They took it up to 42 million, I think, in 2007, 2008. And they have been carrying on doing share issues ever since. And they've now got, I think, just over 87% of Tottenham Hotspur. And the fans have got, like me, I mean, I've only got 700 plus shares, and there's 13% that now have, that are the fans that are left with shares. The problem we've had, I actually don't understand how the Lewises have allowed it to get to this. Joe Lewis I've been told he wants to sell the club. His son Charlie has no interest in football. His daughter Vivian, I'm told, is a Liverpool fan, and has no interest in running Tottenham either.
Same as Ange, he's a Liverpool fan.
Yeah. So what, they're watching their asset diminish on a weekly basis at the moment, and and Hotspur, but that there could be big financial ramifications if Spurs go down, because you look at the situation. You've got 30 million on the ground straight away. You've got amortized transfer fees for the next 4 years, I think, of at least 60 million, and that's not including any transfers that are made. That's transfers that were made up to the end of the last transfer window, not including Kinski, which I know is only, I think, 12 million. If you amortise that over 5 years, it's 2.5 a year. He's brought the wages down. The business model, they have tried to make their business model work in football, and it's failed. And not only are they not realising this, they are doubling down by cutting the ceiling for wages now. So I don't know who they think they're going to get.
Well, Ian, Maz shared these images. Maz shared some images with me earlier on. So over the last 12 years, transfer spend, if you compare us to the big six, we are at the bottom by some considerable way, especially from the top three. And when it comes to wages specifically, if we look at the last 11 years, minus I think last year because of the financial accounts haven't come out.
Yeah,
we are. What was that? 600 million off of Arsenal. If you look at the wages over the last 9-year period prior to 2023. So when you talk about wages, you're right. We are way off. Yeah, we're told. PSR, FFP, Kings, financially sustainable, richest club. I think what you've just said there is where a lot of fans are homing in on. The wages is something that a lot of fans are saying, what's going on? Why is this happening? Surely we can use the money better as well. Why is Werner on 160 grand a week?
Correct.
One of the worst players we've ever seen. Why is that?
The other really relevant point that I want to raise regarding FFP, PSL, whatever you want to call it, is that the other 19 chairmen know where they can get to now in terms of FFP. They know what they've got to spend. It's a percentage of revenue, isn't it? And they will go out of their way to stretch themselves to maximise their club's potential. This lot don't do that. We have the only directors who don't do that, who have no interest in stretching themselves. Levy made out this whole thing about FFP. It was all rubbish. It was all a con. They're just not interested in taking Tottenham up that extra level where there is an element of risk to try and get to the top. They just want to take Spurs to a certain level where they are semi-competitive. They can keep the fans' interest. They've got full houses who are buying plenty of food and drink in the stadium on match day, merchandise in the club shops, etc., etc., etc. There is no interest in taking it on and becoming trophy winners. Life is about memories, and football particularly, it's about moments and memories. and we've had to watch all the other clubs. Even Wigan have won the FA Cup since us. I think Portsmouth won the FA Cup. It's
Leicester City, who are now closing in on us. They've won the FA Cup.
It's some absolute nonsense. And you look at this is a big club financially.
Yeah.
And if you look at the big clubs who are all listed, Deloitte's have listed them, and we're in there. I think we're 9th now. All the other clubs are the biggest clubs in their respective countries, and they are the clubs that, with the financial backing, buy the best players, who pay they pay the highest wages, and you only get the better players if it's same in any industry. So they are all winning trophies. They're giving their fans great memories, great moments. Maybe every year, every other year, whatever. And we've had, United fans complain, and it's standards. Ten Hag won 2 in 2 years. We've won 2 trophies in 33 years. And it'll be 34, if we finish trophyless this season. This is where ENIC have taken us. We are becoming more and more irrelevant as a club every season. Every year. Why would a player want to come to Spurs? Seriously, unless it's a stepping stone. Players are all financially independent these days. It's not about the money anymore. It's about trophies. It's about achievements. And that's something that Levy just fails to grasp. As a football chairman, he's the big thoughts are going.
Let me move it around because I want everyone to speak, and I'm conscious we're gonna spend 1 hour each doing our kind of ENIC speeches. There's someone's got noise in the background. I don't know who it is, but just mute the mic maybe. Maz, let me bring you in.
Let the other guys go, Stel, because I spoke quite a lot last night, didn't I? So I'll be interested to hear everyone.
All right, cool. I'll go to JP. Hello, Mari, as well. Welcome to the show. Terry O'Shea, big up, Terry. He puts a super chat in saying, big up, Stel and panel. We want Levy out. Unity needs to be the message to bring everyone together. The fans have turned. This is an opportunity to act. JP, is this a time now for all fans, especially the YouTube channels, what I call the influencers and the podcasts, to just come together and say, look, we need to find a way forward as a group, and send a consistent message out to fans saying, look, this is what we think we should do. Are you on board?
It has to be 100%. But I remember, I think it was myself and you were speaking to Richard Cracknell, and he was saying everyone, you can't force people, and everyone has their breaking point, right? Or everyone has their reaching point.
Yeah, now, breaking point, he said. I remember.
If it just means us hitting the bottom 4, getting done at home by Leicester, getting trounced at by half-time by Everton, just about squeezing through against Tamworth, right? At what point is people's breaking point? Everyone needs to get together. They should have got together already. But of course, this is the point now. You go, and like I heard Sai say just now, there are still some people who are quite happy that Levy's there, and quite happy that even the fact that Ange is there. From Ange's perspective, I don't really care about Ange, to be honest, because what's the alternative? We get rid of him and get someone else, and we go around the merry-go-round another 18 months, right? I've done that already for like God knows how many years. I'm not interested in that anymore. This is a time and this is a point where everybody needs to take a stand and be together. And I understand it'll be fantastic if all of these YouTube channels, and some of them have got really large audiences, you all come together with a collective message and also rallies everyone, because you need to make it unobtainable for that person. I understand he's got it up for 4 billion and stuff like that, or whatever the number is. But unless people make it uncomfortable, he's happy sitting there counting his coins every single week. That's 9 out of 10 times. I've heard people say, oh, yeah, but he loves Spurs. That's why he's there every week. Bollocks, is he? He's there to make sure that the West Stand have sold, the East Stand have sold, the merchandise is being sold in the shop. And then he's probably there to just He sits on his throne just to have a look at it. That's the type of person he is. It's not about the football. It's like, wow, look at all these people that have come. Look at all the money that we're making. It's that needs to stop. And if everyone can get together and if everyone can make a noise, and the noise in the stadium, we saw it at that Man United game, right? And there was another game where his wife put her hand on his knee and kind of like
El Sakiko, they called it.
Consoling him. That's the level of uncomfortability it needs to get to. But unless everyone buys into it, it's difficult to get that. And you can shift things. You can certainly make things uncomfortable, but it has to be together. That's how I feel. It would be great if everyone, all of these channels got together.
It has to. JP, it's the only way it works, in my opinion. It has to be unity now. Otherwise, it's going to be more division. I just want to bring up a comment here from Charlie Brown, who says, Spurs were crap before Levy took over. Now you're considered a big club. Charlie, this is factually incorrect, and I want to tell you why it's incorrect. These are 25-year breakdowns of the ownership of Spurs, going back to 1900. So the reason I've done 25 years is because that's how long Enoch and Levy have been here. On average, the league position hasn't really changed. So to say that we were crap then and now we're big, not if you're looking at league position. In terms of top four, they've finished top four on average 7 times, which is 1 more time above the average. So they haven't moved us there. If you look at trophies, which is what I think most big clubs, most fans really want, they've absolutely hammered the club. We've reduced by 80% on average. So when you say now we're a big club, we were crap under Levy before, factually you're wrong, unless you're just talking about finances. But if you're talking about finances, that goes back to what Simon said. We're not here for that. We're not here for the money of the owners. We're here because we want to see a good football team challenging and hopefully winning trophies like we were used to in the past. 2 trophies every 10 years is what we used to win. We're not even close to that. We're not even close to that.
I think it's important to say, though, financially, before Scholar nearly got us bust, but we were always a financial powerhouse in the UK. I mean, we broke the transfer record many times, bringing in many different players since the 60s. And we paid top wages to players as well. One, because we're a London club. So we've always been financially a powerhouse, whatever decade that we've been in.
What I find fascinating, and I've said this in the past before, anything financially, business-wise, that Joe Lewis and Daniel Levy has touched has been spot on excellent. I talk about in the past Tavistock, the area that they have developed. I mean, it's top notch in Orlando. Top notch. The best work, the best construction, the best everything. Restaurants, hotels, the best. And it seems with these projects that Daniel Levy has done in London, it seems like the same thing. I mean, evidence is the stadium. The stadium is world class. It's top notch. I mean, it's creme de la creme. And I find it fascinating that when it comes to the football side, that his ego is not geared towards glory. It's not geared to wanting more. You look at the Roman before he got removed from Chelsea, that it was his ambition, was his drive to be successful with Chelsea. You look at Florentino Perez and what he does for Real Madrid is just, you get jealous, but you also scratch your head. It's like you're so passionate, you're so detailed to the point of being successful in all the Enoch projects that you have. But when it comes to the football club, the incompetence, it reeks. I said in the study, Stell knows, the number one reason why we're not successful is we've had the highest turnover of staff, from director to scouts, in this club out of the big 6. The most by far. So when you have that, you don't have continuity You don't have a solid plan or vision for the 24 years, 25 years they've been at Tottenham, Levy and Enoch. So I find it fascinating that in all other areas, bang on, but when it comes to the football club, it's just pure negligence, incompetence. It's atrocious.
Laurie, do you want me to rub salt in the wounds for you? You mentioned Roman Abramovich. He spoke to Spurs before he spoke to Chelsea.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did, and we declined. Let me bring in Iggy. Hi, Lee. How you doing?
Hey.
Glad you're here. There's more of us than what I thought, but I don't want to not give everyone a voice, so we'll do it tonight. We'll do it. Just a couple of super chats quickly. BSC Radio says, "How long until his wife strokes his leg again?"
Bloody soon, I hope.
Hopefully next game. Chung L says, "Think I said this on another stream, but I agree with the wage thing. Son is the best example. Great player for many years with crazy marketability. Only 190k. So insulting, and his agent is useless." I think fans might argue with you right now, Chung, that wage isn't quite justified because he's not been up to scratch. Or is it the tactics that I don't know? I get your point, though. I do get your point. Iggy, we were outside Hotspur Way with about 15 other people. Transfer deadline day, freezing cold, end of January for about 2 years in a row with a cold cup of coffee, freezing our nuts off. Was it worth it, Iggy? It looks like the fans have turned.
All right, look. I'm going to be a little bit more skeptical here about it all. I don't think everyone's feelings towards the situation are all genuine. I think in some of the YouTubers, I'm gonna go by all some of the YouTubers. I'm not gonna go by names, but I feel that this is just what's the word? Is it a storm in a teacup? I don't know. I can't remember what the terminology is. I feel like this is the subject right now, so they're going with it for their own.
Oh, the wind's gone that way, so they've all gone with whichever way the direction,
I
whichever
feel
way the
because
wind
it's
blows.
just the main talking point because the
hot
banner's
topic.
out.
Yeah.
The hot topic, and I feel like they're going with it. And I think the results of Spurs, especially in the last few weeks, if not months now, have enforced that because it's like as soon as Spurs start to do well, those who already in that like us, let's just say like well we've always
But don't you think it's the transfer window when the manager's saying I need help? He's not, Conte would just blow it all up, whereas Ange is saying, look, I need help. He's cryptically saying I need some signings, and when the club don't make those signings, don't you think that's feeding into it? It's not just the results; it's the behaviour of the board to back the team in a difficult situation.
Stevie Wonder could see that we need signings. It's just clear today. All I'm trying to say is
what I'm saying is, don't you think that's why fans have flipped on the board as well? Because they're now seeing that
fans,
it's not just
in my
results.
opinion, I think to an element, a percentage of fans are fed up with the situation more so than what's going on with the season. But I feel the vast majority are purely in the situation, are feeling this way because of the results. Because this has been going on for 24 years. Why is it happening all now? Why is this United stand happening right now? It's because of the results. Because before we haven't been this bad. Even at our worst, we've never been as bad as we are now. This is my opinion, guys. That's how I feel. Now, if Spurs go on to turn this around and start getting positive results, and perhaps we make a final of the cup, because it could happen. Even though we finished 17th, we might still make a cover. And lo and behold, we even win the trophy. Would this moment that's happening right now still be remembered after that? Because Man United went on to win 2 trophies, like you rightly said. Someone said it earlier on. Man United went to win 2 trophies. They celebrated the team. They celebrated the manager in that moment, but they never forgot about the owners. They were still very much against the owners. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, celebrate the win, but they never forgot that guy. And I feel with our fan base, it would only take a few. Listen, yesterday, we said Levy out at the beginning. They were shouting out Levy out. We took the lead and we forgot all about it. And then it was only when we started going behind, we went behind to Leicester, we brought out the Levy out shout. And that's I just don't feel it would take me. It would take me after what happened to us 2 years ago, and this is why, because I got burned like a couple of years ago. You was there as well. We were getting burned by everyone that going to the home games, calling us every name under the sun, and some
Yeah, but
some even
now,
worse
now
than
the
I
channels
remember.
the channels are turning a bit.
Are the channels changing because they truly feel what I felt and what you perhaps have felt, and many others here have felt for the last
All
few
right.
years,
Okay,
or
I'll
has
tell
it
you this.
changed because
Right.
because this is the way right now? Right now, this is the topic, because those I feel like I've always been this way. I've been like this for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I've always felt that. I don't feel if you haven't seen it in 24 years, why are you seeing it now?
Right, Iggy. So,
What's different
okay,
right now?
Ricky
That's made
Sachs.
everyone turn?
Ricky Sachs, who's one person who I've questioned. You know, are you just going to moan or are you going to do something? He said yesterday on his channel, he will protest. He will speak to other YouTubers and see if they can collaborate, as long as it's organized and it's not going to disturb the families on the match day. Okay, which I think actually makes sense. And then Ben on We Are Tottenham TV said something similar. He said, look, I don't mind reaching out to him and seeing if we can collaborate. So I messaged Ricky Sachs and I forwarded a message to Marlon from Spurs Kings, and he sent it to him. And Marlon said to me, look, Ricky will reach out to you this week. So let's see. If he doesn't, then Iggy, I'll come back next week and say, Iggy, do you know what? You were bang on the money. We got carried away. But if he does, then I would say, do you know what? I think it is turning. So I do see where you're coming from, though. I do.
It's just a sad case of event that it's taking Tottenham to have one of the shittiest seasons in a long time to get to this point. I don't understand why, outside of the results, outside of the manager's incompetence, because I know we're going to get into Ange as well.
5 years we've been saying it. This is what it took.
I
What
don't
do we do?
understand why it's taken the incompetence of a manager, which for me, there's a level of that. We have to 101 problems he's had this year. I think he's added 2 or 3 to the 101. So whilst he's not the biggest problem, he has added to the problems, and there's been press conferences, statements that he's made that have aligned with the way these owners think as well and what they've done. He was on board with it, then he comes back out of it, then he goes back. So he's been everyone calls flip-flopping. So I don't know, guys. I'm a little bit more skeptical about it all, as the motives behind why people are doing what they're doing now. Are they totally genuine and feel, because I've been feeling that for a while now, and now I'm questioning things. So I need to see a little bit more for me to listen. If there's protests, I'll be there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not.
action is the only proof now. Action is the only proof.
For me, I'm hearing a lot of words.
I agree.
A lot of words. And you guys saying, JP said earlier, I left my seat empty for this game here, but he does that 2 or 3 more times. They will threaten him to take his season ticket away, and that happens with a lot of fans. So you can't afford to leave an empty seat for a long time, because look at what they're doing with that banner that we just put up. The searches are going to be a lot more. The balloons, when there've been balloons. So all I'm saying is that they have a really strict. The stewards are going to be under immense pressure now to make sure that shit doesn't get in the stadium anymore. So how we carry on the protest, the big massive match, which by the way shouldn't be an issue as long as it's not offensive. So I said it earlier, as long as it's not offensive, it shouldn't be an issue. But at Tottenham, nothing that goes, nothing's the norm there. So listen, I'm fed up with his ownership, like they say a lot of you are. I just haven't gone to the season. I haven't gone to any games apart from one because my brother wanted to see the stadium, and he's the only reason why I went to watch that cup game against Man City. But other than that, I've been no interest at all going to the stadium. I'm completely disillusioned with the whole running of the team and the team itself, and have done since Conte left, because I felt like we lost our ways even before that. But I thought Conte gained something, and then quickly after that, it all went down a pound. And then since then, I'm just. From a business point of view, from a fans,
that's why Harry Kane left. Conte was the last chance to get it right.
There's just been disillusion. I still wear the shirt with pride. Don't get me wrong. I'm still a Spurs fan at heart, but I just think it's just become like support Spurs. Then you just think, and also the biggest thing in there lately, we have become the absolute bantered club of this Premier League. Even and someone said before, we're a
You
big
see,
club
Paddy
or we're a
Power,
big
I
six.
think.
Yeah, but the Paddy Power, Domino's, just go and have a look at it. The thing is, we have become the most bantered club in this country, and there's nothing that you can come back with that will say, yeah, actually, do you know what, you might have a point there. Nothing. And someone said we're a big club earlier in terms of finances and perhaps rich, and as I can understand that maybe there's
I
an
think we're a
argument.
big business. We're a big
But
business, not a big
in terms
football
of
club.
football, big club,
We're a
what?
big business.
What will be? We're big six. What big six, man? You showed earlier on about the wages there. We're closer to Everton than we were to Arsenal. So what exactly, when you say big, what does big mean? And some people, some fans, even some of the YouTubers, says, you know, this Tottenham
Yeah,
is
you're
not
right.
about
We're actually closer to Everton and Leicester. You're right.
yeah, I saw the numbers, man. I'm good with. I remember numbers when I see it once. I don't need to see it again. But this is the kind of thing
It's for
that
the audience, Iggy. It's for the
yeah,
audience.
put it general the audience. But I'm saying like when you say big, what does big mean anymore? Because I don't think Tottenham.
Well,
I don't think we're the biggest team
big.
in London. We're
I
not
don't-
even the biggest team in
Well,
London. Is what I'm
Well,
saying.
well, big.
I'm sorry that annoys
I mean,
people, but these are the
There's
facts.
there's a constant
Iggy.
argument, isn't there, that a big club to certain sections of fans means finishing consistently high in the league and winning trophies. But it's not just those two factors. There's other factors: size of the fan base, infrastructure around the club, money it generates, and things of that. Now, I put more value in the trophies and where we finish in the league above of those other things. But you can understand why there's so
Well, shouldn't
much
every fan,
frustration.
man, shouldn't every fan be like that though?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's where we've fundamentally gone wrong, right? And this is why we've gone. This is why it's got this bad, because the fan base didn't assert their authority, if that's the right word to use, or what we're entitled to as fans and supporters of the club, in terms of winning and standards and what we will accept as a fan base in terms of how we're treated as supporters. We've conceded too much ground over the years, which has emboldened
Maz,
the regime to go
do you think
further
we
and
sold the
further and further.
focus? Do you think we sold our focus away from the football to
We
more
sold our
entertainment
soul.
and
Not the
experience?
focus. The soul is gone. We are a soulless club. We have no direction in football. I'm talking football now. I'm talking about money.
Yeah, that's what I mean. As fans, did we lose our focus?
We are a
on
directionless
football?
club. We go wherever the wind blows. We act on depending on how the wind blows. So if they're I'll tell you now, if there things, if it gets really heavy on Levy, all right, he will put it on the manager. Get rid of it. He'll probably go and get the best manager around just to quiet fans out.
Symptoms of
We are
Iggy.
completely and utterly soulless, man.
Yeah,
There's no sense of belonging. There's no sense of belonging in this club anymore.
We had a chat, Iggy. We had a chat the other
Let
week.
Maz finish 1 minute in. Let go, Maz. Let Maz finish because we keep interrupting him.
They are symptoms of Daniel Levy and Joe Lewis not asserting the Tottenham ethos onto the club and the supporters. And what I mean by the Tottenham ethos is we were traditionally a cup team. We were traditionally a team long time ago. But Iggy, that's
even
our
the
history.
90s. We've got two trophies in the 90s.
But Iggy, this is our history.
Our time. What about the younger?
But we've got
that's
we've
what
got
Maz is talking about.
We've got 140 odd years to look back on and show what we are or what we should be. Right? Fine, we're not it now, but it's up to the chairman to carry on that ethos. See, they're the custodians at the moment of the club, and the ethos of Tottenham Hotspurs, I understand it as what I've been born into, is that we're a club with a rich cup tradition that plays incredible football and that has exciting football players that are world renowned. Right? That is Tottenham Hotspur in a nutshell. But we've gone away from that. No, what I'm saying is all of the things you said is true, Iggy, right? I'm just saying there's symptoms of the overall problem of Daniel Levy not instilling the ethos and ambition into the club. The fans have conceded ground every single year on many different topics, right? And we are, and certainly in the last I would say since the new stadium, we have sold our soul. We have sold our soul and accepted it.
Maz, I'm completely on board with everything you've just said about the traditions and the cup and all that. I'm completely on that because thankfully I'm old enough to remember that. But I'm saying what's happened with this ownership in 25 years that they've been on board, they have stripped it to the. They're even trying to strip the older fans like yourself and they're trying to Ian, they're trying to get rid of those guys because the new generation wouldn't have any affiliation to any kind of success. So what would be the norm from the new generation moving up is what they're seeing now. For the 15-20-year-old person, all right, they will know any different. They won't know. They would know. Don't get me wrong. The history books, like we know, 1961, we weren't around for that, but we know about it.
They haven't experienced it. They haven't
experienced it. So what would they? If the owners now carry on? They don't have these new generation to have put pressure on them because it's like we've never experienced it. So we're not missing out on anything.
I don't agree.
It's this fans now, us. In my opinion, this generation of fans, they're the ones that want to wipe out. They want the daily tourists.
Yeah, that's why we have to fight for it, Iggy, and that's why it's our responsibility.
Yeah, they strip the senior citizens. They strip them.
Yeah,
they don't want them around anymore.
But that's why we have to fight for what we're fighting for, and it's our duty, especially our age group, right, that we have to inform the younger fans about who we are and what we are. And that's why I kept having arguments with people like Adrian and other people that no, right, don't just accept entertaining football.
Accepted it, man.
No, not you, Iggy. I'm talking about other people. Don't just accept entertaining football. We have to accept we have, as a minimum, winning, right, and keeping to the ethos of the club and the traditions of the club. Right, so and that's why I think it's unacceptable for us to go this long without winning trophies, and that's why I keep saying to the older people, sorry, Ian, right, but people of Ian's age group, saying you can't wait another 5 fucking years because you might, none of us know when we're going to pass away, so you wait another 5 years. You can never see Tottenham.
He'll change the name of the club by then. We won't be Tottenham Hotspur. We'll have a completely different name. We'll be like an NFL franchise where they change location.
We don't even have the naming rights. And how long has that stadium been open now?
I've said many times, if Spurs renamed to the Spursy Rockets, I'm all for it, and I can move on.
But the thing is, look, we was talking about you guys mentioned it earlier, the Bill Nicholson gates and all that stuff. All of it is all being wiped out. And in about 10, if he gets his way in the next 5-10 years, it would be too late. I think. Listen, I said it to you the other day, and I know we had a massive back and forth about it the other night. I think this has come a little bit too little, too late. In my opinion, I will fight. I will go to the process. I will still do it because I'm passionate enough to still want to do it. Do I think it's going to actually do anything? Do I believe that people that there's this unity? Do I feel it's? I don't know, man. I'm going to wait and see.
You're not convinced yet.
I'm not convinced because we've been here before. We've been here, and we've ended up with mud on our faces. They're all Sakiko. Oh, it's all happening. What did he got rid of Nuno? Got in Conte, and it all died again. And I just feel that this could be quickly. The results is the difference. That's the only thing that's different. And that
but he's not getting rid of
the results back up.
Can I weigh in with a few things?
Yeah. I just want to say, I'll come to you. But the thing is, Alistair Gold reported today, Spurs are sticking with Ange amid the injury crisis his squad is engulfed with, and they will try. They will try to sign at least one player. Well, we know it's nonsense, right? The point is, get rid of the manager. In comes Conte, hurrah! But he's not getting rid of this manager. And this manager, someone said in the comments, this manager and his tactical ineptness is actually helping us turn on Levy. Ange is helping us.
Firstly, right, can I just answer Maz? We are a big club, but we're not an elite club. The elite clubs are the ones that win the trophies.
The ambition to win trophies as well. This is a big club. Last team to win the FA Cup as a non-league team in 1901. 21. 61. First team last century to win the double. 62 FA Cup. 63. First team to win a European trophy.
first British team, first English team. Right, we broke transfer records. We brought in players like, I mean, Jimmy Greaves was brought in for £1 under 100 grand in 1961. We beat Alex Ferguson to Gaza. You know, we brought players in, Klinsmann. We had Ozzy and Ricky come in 78. Unfortunately, and obviously it's no fault of their own, the younger fans were born after all of this. This is a great club with history and tradition, and the history and tradition makes us a big club. How many other teams would have gone to Wembley in 2016 for a Champions League game against Monaco and get 85, nearly 86,000? This is a big club. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. It has great history. It has great tradition. If anybody wants to know what the Tottenham way is, go back, read up about the double team, read up about Bill Nicholson, all of his quotes, all of Danny Blanchflower's quotes. This is the Tottenham way. I can't describe it better than that. There have been some amazing nights that I have had through the years. This Good Friday, April, will be 60 years since my first game. I've been going to home games regularly since 69, all over the country since 72, and around Europe since 74. I've had some amazing times, and Levy and Enoch have robbed all of us of years and years of these great times. This is a great club, and all they have wanted to do is make money for themselves. There is no interest in footballing success. So for everybody, I think the fan base is starting to wake up. Even the young kids who must be so pissed off when they see friends who are Chelsea and Liverpool and City and Arsenal, who are all doing much better than that. Much better. We're nowhere. We are nowhere. You know, we beat Ferguson to Gascoigne. You know, Kolo Muani looks at us third after Juventus and Man United. We're not even in the equation when it comes to players who we are looking at. So we are now, because Levy has made our club virtually irrelevant in terms of the big global clubs. What big players are going to come to us? Seriously, nobody. You know, hi Brian, if there are bigger clubs that win trophies, that pay higher wages, and remember although obviously wages is a big thing for players, but they are all now, the top players are all financially independent. Most of them by the time they're 21, 22. It's not a question. You go to a big club, you know, for the wages. Most, you know, the Sky money has brought so much money into football that really any businessman with half a brain could have made money running a Premier League club since 1992. So please don't think that Levy is this fantastic businessman who brought the ground in over £500 million over budget and 9 months late. Now, if anybody here had an employee who they trusted to look after that project, and you're £500 million out of pocket and you're 9 months late, would you keep that guy in his job? Seriously? He is no great businessman. He could have had Grealish for 18 million. Grealish went to Man City for 100 million. How much was lost there? Bruno Fernandes was coming to Spurs. He was told we were going to put in a bid. Spurs bid 10 million under what was it Sporting Lisbon wanted?
Sporting Lisbon, yeah.
Yeah. Man United beat Spurs to the 4th place that year. That cost Levy 40 to 50 million. He wouldn't pay the extra 10 million or 8 million. It was 10 million euros, 8 million pounds, and it cost him 50 million roughly in Champions League money. The biggest profit year we ever had was the year we got to Madrid. We made £138 million profit. And he still can't see how footballing success brings about financial success. Seriously, he can't see that after his biggest ever profit year. Unbelievable. So please don't let anybody tell me this guy is a great businessman. Seriously, a club this big? Jesus.
Let me bring in Lee and Brian because they haven't spoken yet. Lee, you go first. Brian, welcome to the show. Yeah, Lee, you're hearing everyone talk.
Birthday, brother. Happy
Your birthday
Lee.
today.
Yeah, it was.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday, Lee.
Happy
Big
birthday,
5-0,
mate.
mate. Well done.
Hey,
brother.
listen, I'm not going to say Levy's a great businessman, but he is a bit of a great businessman. But I'm seeing a lot of similarities into what I do in the way that this business is run in the financial services.
What, you steal money from customers?
Yeah, basically, yeah. So
Right.
it's on the business side in terms of making money and looking for opportunities to make money. They are very, very proactive, right? Very proactive. But when it comes to the important part, they are very reactive, all right? I don't think I've ever remember a time where we've, as you say, in what like we used to do with the Klinsmans and the Berbatovs and stuff like this. I don't remember a time where we've gone out and got something because it's the right thing to do for the ambition of the club. It's always reactive because we need to plug a gap, we need to plug a hole, or Kane's leaving or something like that. And they've and it feels like it's just band-aid after band-aid after band-aid when it comes to putting money towards the football inside, players, buying players, etc., etc. So you have to give him props to some point. He's made us sustainable. Now it's time. Well, no, it's not now time. It's been time for a long time. He's now got to step up and put the priorities where it is. This is Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. This isn't Tottenham Entertainment Complex 2.0. It's time to start putting the money and proactively putting the money into the football pitch, onto the football pitch, by showing some ambition, showing a plan, giving us a plan, just like Newcastle did when their owners came in, giving their supporters saying, hey, we want to be in a position where we want to win the league in 10 years' time. It's going to take that long, but that's our goal. That's what we want. We don't want him sitting on a chair saying we've got our Tottenham back, because we simply haven't got our Tottenham back. We're nothing like the Tottenham before they came along, apart from the fact we're financially stable, yet they won't spend the money on the football side. It's as simple as that.
Spot on, Lee. I'm glad you brought up that because we didn't speak about that. We've got our Tottenham back. And that's something I'm going to start saying actually on socials to remind everyone what you said. Quick super chat from BSB Radio who said, regarding Iggy's comments, it's a dictatorship. And he's talking about Levy, not Iggy, by the way. Tom81, big up. Channel member, 18 months. Appreciate you, bro, as always. Brian, how you doing, mate?
I'm good. I will say, a world where Iggy is leading a nation in a dictatorship, sign me up. I want to live in that country. That will be an awesome country. But yes, still.
Did you hear what Iggy said earlier on about how he's not convinced? He's a bit, what's the word? Not critical. He was
skeptical.
Skeptical, that's it. Well done, JP. He's skeptical as to whether YouTubers and fans really have turned, or is it just because the results are bad? Couple of wins, it changes. Maybe a last day transfer signing, and everyone's like, do you know what? We've got a signing in. It's hard to get players in January. We've got one in. Plus, we've got the goalie, and we've just beaten Brentford away. All good. Or do you think actually no, things have actually changed, Brian?
Still will know. People in this community will know. I know Scott M's in the chat. Simon will know from the group I'm in with him. I said to myself, I said to you, Stel, very openly and privately when we spoke, I'm going to change my tactic. I'm going to change my tact and try and be the way I have kind of gone. You've led the line that way where we were just smacking into everyone. And I said, right, I'm going to go on a different approach. Ian knows this as well. I spoke to Ian about this on many a time. And I said, right, let me just try this differently. Because what we've been trying to do is preach to the converted, say the same thing to the same group of great supporters of all these channels that are pro-Levy out. And the ones that are in London or are match day going fans aren't coming. I don't just mean the guys in your chat. I mean, we are Tottenham on tour, you name it, they weren't coming. So I said, right, I've got to change my tact. I've got to try a different way. I'll bash down any door I have to. So I said, right, let's do that. And the main aim was to get on other shows that weren't predominantly Levy out, enabled to then speak to them in a more dignified or whatever way you want to say it, to try and see if I could speak to them on a level like this, where we're just having a conversation, like you would when you go into a shop to buy something like a suit or a car, and try a different sales pitch. Well, it got me on other shows. And so you look at it, you and I have known each other since we were 11 years old. We go very, very far back. And as I said, there's people like myself, there's people like Graham that have been Levy out from the very second they bought the football club. There have been people everyone famously knows, because I always mention it, I have been Levy out since Martin Jol was sacked. That was, nope, the way you've sacked a guy that I adored and loved, the way you did that in such a undignified manner, never to be repeated again, was disgraceful. Then I looked back and thought, you know what? The warning signs were there with Graham and Hoddle. Most people, when they take over a club, make a marquee signing. He fired what looked like the devil and hired God. Brilliant masterstroke. Oh my God, he's brought Glenn Hoddle home. But where I'm going with this is, you look at it, and there are people that have had different breaking points to being Levy out. Whether it be, like myself, Martin Jol, whether it be the Super League, whether it be Mourinho being fired, whether it be hiring Mourinho, whether it be sacking Pochettino, whether it had been the year we didn't sign anyone. Every single time, someone has a different breaking point. And we've got people now having this as their breaking point. So if this is their breaking point, and it's taken big channels to have this moment, I can completely get where Iggy is coming from. I can completely get from it where Iggy's coming from. I've said this to you before, and I've used this analogy a million times. Imagine Mount Everest is Mount Levy. The 9 of us here on this show, and predominantly however many hundreds you've got in the chat, are right at the summit and have pitched our flag at the top for Levy out. We're not coming down. We are not coming down because we believe strongly where we are. Now, the only way those people that haven't been Levy out may be thinking, do you know what, maybe the board aren't what they seem and we've been taken for a ride. The only way to get them to climb up and join us on the top of the mountain is not by shouting and screaming at everyone, and this is on both sides. So I can completely understand where Iggy comes from, but if this is the moment that we've all been waiting for and all been begging for and all been pleading for, whilst we've got it, why are we trying to break it down and go, yeah, it could be the results and it could be flavour of the month. Yeah, they're doing it now because Levy out is rife. When the Ice Bucket Challenge was going large, everyone did it because it was rife. They didn't go, oh, I'll wait till it passes and then I'll join. It was flavour of the month. And right now we're in a position where this is a very, very hot topic. It's flavour of the month. Maybe it will be flavour of the month. But rather than trying to shoot it down for what it could be and what it might be and is it, we should be embracing this and going, do you know what? Potentially right now, there are channels, and not just channels, on YouTube, Twitter accounts, podcasts that only do on Spotify, that bring in thousands and thousands of people that we don't always have the reach because they won't listen to us because of where we've been. If we've got the chance to bring in tens of thousands of people from around the world and hopefully match day going fans, which we saw yesterday, we have to embrace it. We have to say, do you know what? You can be a bit like, oh, maybe this is flavour of the month, but why are we questioning it? Rather, we should be welcoming him still. In my honest opinion, people can disagree. People can say, don't trust this one, don't trust that one. They're doing this for this, they're doing that for that. This is this moment that still you and I and Iggy and everyone here have been asking for these people to jump on board. Well, now they've jumped on board. Why are we going, well, why have you only come on board now? It should be fucking welcome.
No, Iggy's saying, Brian. Iggy's saying, are they saying they're on board? No. But I was referring to what Iggy said because are they on board, or do we have to wait and see if they're on board? Is kind of what I was asking.
I do think they're on board. Obviously, I would say now, and now people will go, oh yeah, blah blah. And still, you've spoken to him behind the scenes. Ricky Sachs and Last Word on Spurs, especially Crackers. You have spoken to him on multiple occasions behind the scenes for various different reasons, and you've known his anger and frustration. And it's how they've handled it. But you would have seen over the last, since this bad run of form, they have completely switched. They have
Brian.
Yeah.
If everyone's on board, right? And, I truly hope it's a genuine thing. Nothing would make me more happier. Honestly, it really would. I'm just a little bit guarded now because I've seen this happening before. That for me, I'm guarding myself. I'm not guarding anyone else. I'm just saying, I've heard what Stowe had to say about the whole Ricky Sachs thing, and if it is the case, brilliant. Expressions done a video slating everything and everyone in the club.
Yep,
brilliant. Okay, let's keep this going. And even when the attention perhaps is not as high as it is right now, we don't stop because of that. We keep going. And I just hope that in a large part, if they truly and this isn't happening just because the results are going really dire. That's all I'm saying. If it is, like I said, you don't remember after Man City when we said, I think Ange tweaked it. We won 4-0 with the. I said, hang on a minute. Let's wait 2-3 matches before I can get really on board. If he really has learned anything from this match, it will come through. He didn't, and that moment was me, Ange, out from that moment. I'm saying the same thing now here. I'm happy that we got there the same way you are.
Yep.
I don't want to look at it in 2-3 games time. We turn it around. We might get rid of the manager. We're waiting for them. By the way, Dan, the words from Dan at Hotspur Hood stick in my head. We're waiting for the market to close before get rid of Ange, and I'm just thinking we're on the cusp of that, really. And I'm just thinking. I hope it's not something that's circumstantial. We've got to this point out circumstances, but I'm with you. I'm with you. Don't question it. I've just gave my opinion on it, but I'm not stopping anything on anyone. I said to you, if there's any protests, I'll be there.
Iggy, what I'll say to you, I've just got a couple of things to say, then I'll let others speak. You'll remember, because you and Stel, when I think JP turned up, Ryan, myself, and Graham at the training ground. 16 days in a row, 3 years ago today.
Yeah, you did it the longest by no
16 years, 16 days in a row, non-stop.
I remember.
We were there, whether it was 3 of us, whether it was 10 of us, whether it was whatever it was.
Freezing as well.
Transfer deadline day. Everything was set up on the Saturday that we got the flags. We got everything planned, and so many people were driving down.
That was the Kulu Bentancur.
So remember, Kulu and Bentancur came announced on the Saturday. You and Still arrived in the evening. Do you remember how fucking fuming I was? I literally left, and I was absolutely heartbroken and devastated because so many people did this, but because Kulu and Bentancur came in,
see you later.
Everyone did that. Now, if you told me 3 years later we'd be here, I think any of us would have been like, no, it can't be this bad. It can't. We're here. I almost down tools there and said, you know what, forget YouTube. I was that close. Still will know I was heartbroken. I literally needed to take some time out, stay away from YouTube, do everything, because I was like, we laid it. Then we did it at the home ground. But where I'm going with this is why I think this one is here to stay. What you've got to remember, first of all, the window shuts.
Yeah.
If we sign no one, and I'm going to give you I'm going to give you 3 analogies right now, and then I'm stopping. So you look at it, either we don't sign anyone and the tension goes crazy, or he gets a couple of typical Nelson and Sahars, and everyone will go, hey, and then we see. But then what you've got to remember is this tension is still going to be here. We're probably going to go out of the cup to Liverpool, but people are forgetting 2 big things that are going to happen in April, which we all know is coming. And Simon will probably know where I'm going with this. His bonus that he'll give himself. And when he goes to give himself a bonus this time, with no footballing accolades whatsoever, no backing in the transfer market, let down another manager, and then the season ticket price will come out. So no matter what happens, if we fuck up in the transfer market, there's ammo. If we go out of the cups, there's ammo. Surely after that, he will give himself a bonus, and for what he's delivered off the field, it'll probably be a very sizable one again, probably more than last year because he's delivered more and there's been more strategic partnership.
Brian, he took a 3 million bonus. Brian, he took a 3 million bonus 2 years ago when we finished 8th and failed to qualify for Europe.
Exactly, but this is the thing: when we get to the what you got to remember with last word for Spurs, with change for Spurs, what they did yesterday, they did everything under the radar. And there's plans for Manchester United. I already know. I don't know what they are, but Man U is targeted, and there are more things coming. This is going to be happening because they're not letting go. They're not
Let's
letting
keep
go.
under the radar. Let's keep under the radar. Shh, don't say nothing.
Exactly. Listen. I don't even know the plans. Put it that way. I don't even know the plans. And these things are coming. The bonus he will get.
They're going to have airport security dogs on the Spurs fans as they go.
Whoever's mate, I'm telling you now, Manchester United, that security is going to be tight. But what I have heard from I don't know, Simon, if you heard, but Jay, they've got banners and they're actually checking, and they've been cleared for the fire and safety excuse. So they haven't got your email you sent, by the way, Si, is unbelievable, is incredible. People have got to stop thinking right now. The immediate aim is to get Levy out. It's not going to happen overnight. We've got to look right now. There are going to be so many. You look at it when we had again Kulu and Benton, Corrigi. That turnaround got us into the Champions League. No one was going to protest. No one was going to do anything. We were in the ascendancy. Then we got Champions League. No one's going to protest. Right now, everywhere this turns, every move he tries to make is under scrutiny. Every single thing. Can you imagine if he brings in Evan Ferguson, which is a rumour, a striker that we don't need? What message is sent to all Lancashire? There'll be another. Everything he tries to do now is under huge scrutiny. So whether I don't even think the results save him. I don't even think if the results pick up. I think there are so many things that are in the offing in the very close future, like the bonus and season ticket prices, and what he's going to do with seniors, and is he going to do anything for juniors? The petrol on the fire is burning, and it's just going to. People are just pouring more and more petrol. So I can't. I'm going to shut up now because I have just.
Brian.
Yes.
Until people start voting with their feet or not buying from the bars, not buying from the shops, while he's getting 61,000 every match, doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, that's
not true, Ian. That's not true.
He only gives a damn when it starts hitting him in the pocket. It's the only time.
No, look. An organisation such as this despises negativity in the press, right? And a bad atmosphere in the stadium, right? They can't do the things they want to do and attract the sponsors they want to attract if there's this furore around the club, right? So whilst I agree that you have to hit him in the pocket and it will happen if this continues sustained. I don't want to call it toxicity because we've got a legitimate right to protest against
it's a sustained protest.
Yeah, right. But if we continue the sustained protest, then it will hit them in the pocket because
hopefully yes.
Yeah, right.
Then one of the things I would say really quickly, Ian, is the fact that if we get all of these YouTube channels who have got thousands of followers, right? There's 60 odd thousand people that go inside the ground. Yes, they can maybe stop a flag and strip search you for any bits and pieces and stuff like that. But each one of those people has a voice. And if everyone uses that voice inside that stand, that's going to make a big difference. Not little pockets of people, but can you imagine if everyone who listens to all of these YouTube channels and all those people inside that ground use their voice?
I said last season that it needs to get toxic, but toxic doesn't mean flipping cars in the high street, which some people will suggest just to divert their defense of Levy and ENIC. They want to make the opposing view of Levy out sound like a criminal organization, which is what we had to deal with, right? And what I said is this: if it gets toxic, non-stop Levy out chants, we want Levy out, banners. If it gets like that and it's consistent, eventually corporate box holders pick up the phone to the corporate team and say, I bring my guests here, I wine and dine, I do business here. This isn't the environment I want to be in. Suddenly the NFL pick up the phone and say, there's a lot of bad publicity on your club. We are a big brand in America. We can't have this association if this continues. If people boycott the club shop, Nike, they're on the phone. We're not making money from this deal. We're not interested. So the sponsors, the NFL and the corporates hurts their pockets eventually. So this was my argument with someone that said to me, Stel, but you go to the games. You're part of the problem. And I said, the only reason Levy out, the noise exists is because of the fans that get in that stadium. Everyone's praised that banner in the stands yesterday. Oh, brilliant, brilliant. They paid to get in there, right?
So
it's almost like we have to pay to protest as well.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Another factor is
Kieran Maguire's thing that I've just been sent via Twitter.
No,
I don't know if it was on Sky earlier today or if, obviously me being here, but I've just been sent something where Kieran Maguire's been on and has said Tottenham are the most profitable club in Premier League history.
Yeah.
So history, the way we're running. So
no shit, really.
But
look, things where petrol on the fire and why this isn't going to die down this time.
Yeah, and look, another small little factor as well is that if there is a negativity around the club and the customer base, the fans are unhappy, then sponsors will feel morally that they can't support the club. They don't want to be associated with the negativity and they may pull out. It might not be a financial decision. They might think, you know what, I don't want Nike associated with Tottenham because all of their fans hate them. You know, hate the owners.
The same reason players don't want to come. Sponsors eventually say, do you know what, we don't want to be there.
Yeah, precisely.
If an investor had any sense, though, they would fuel the fire. Start paying the media companies more money to drive that price down. If they were in a serious momentum of how business can work at the very highest of levels, even if you look at the political stances of how governments can come into power or certain people can come into power, when you absorb things like the biggest social media platform in the world, you probably know what I'm talking about, can all of a sudden get a very nice seat in an administration in probably the most powerful government in the world. It's exactly the same principle that this drive and what I mentioned earlier is the media attention is hyping up. And that's exactly what we want, because we want these big entities, we want these big media mouthpieces to do this work that we can't do. We can only go as far as the barrier of how many fans watch the channels, or perhaps how just very little that news gets out to little bits of streamed media out there into the vicinity of the community. It's that media power that comes into play. And if we're talking about sponsors and things dropping out, if I was an investor and I had enough money, I'd be going, what could I do to drive this price down? And I'll actually just feed it. So if there's any investors out there, by the way, that are watching this channel right now and you have a few billion to spare, I think you can save a lot of money if you just start driving that aspect, because it could easily damage it. But at the moment, I think he's doing it by himself. And long may it continue. I want this drive to continue. I'm a Spurs fan. I'm a supporter first and foremost. I'm one of those fans like you, Stel. I pay my money. I go to the game to support the team, not the regime. That's how the wording occurs in the protest, okay? That is what I go for. The team will not perform, or it will perform even worse if no one was there trying to give them some form of encouragement. Some of the players aren't good enough, we know that, but the fact of the matter is we're there to show the best support we can and hopefully bring more voices that shout louder and prouder about the ENIC regime, the Levy out regime. This is what we need. And I was really pleased to see that those banners were on TV. They, albeit at the end of the game, as we mentioned earlier about the respectful thing that we are trying to be as fans to other fans, that has to continue. And I think that is the biggest thing right now, is continuing to do this noise. Like JP said, we have to keep banging that drum at every game, even in the winning. I've seen it when we were actually winning the game yesterday, the chants were still coming out. That's a positive thing to hear, because like Iggy said just a minute ago, you know, if we turn this around, I don't have the delusional mindset anymore, because of the years and years of the circus. It goes round in circles. You change the manager, you change the players, the problem is still there. Okay, you might turn some results around, you might win a trophy. He's not going to go and win the Carabao Cup and all of a sudden start spending millions upon millions of pounds on new, exciting, world-class players. It's not going to work. It's just another momentum for him to go, cool, I've got another checkbook or another check coming my way for my big bonus and my award of getting a trophy. That's just how it works. So, as I said, I think that's the key now. And I think it's commendable to everyone over the last 5, 10, however many years who have been behind this campaign. We don't want this campaign, by the way. I don't want to have to do this. I want like an idealistic world for everything to be hunky-dory with Spurs.
I hate standing in the rain with a banner with people taking pictures of me laughing. I freaking hated it.
Yeah, that's the thing though. But
Was that because it messes up your hair?
All know, you get to a point where like I'm not going to be the orchestra here anymore. I'm going to sit back and just watch it burn, because eventually at some point, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years down the line, it will continue to keep running in circles, and you're going to be the insane ones, not us that have been protesting for many years, or get going on about this narrative. If you enjoy this, if you enjoy watching underperformance and the abuse of our football club, carry on. Like, because that's the insanity to me now. Like, come and join us. We're waiting here for you guys.
I think
come and join us.
I think the transfers is the thing that's wound me up more than anything. Right? It's the transfers. It's just the lack of ambition in the transfer market, especially when we had that amazing Poch team, and then we just said, right, just sabotage it now. Just hit self-destruct and keep hitting destruct.
We're not the only channel talking about this subject tonight. BBC 5 Live Sport. Mark Chapman and Chris Sutton on the radio. Quote, sporting success isn't really the priority at Tottenham Hotspur. Is it time for Enoch Group and Daniel Levy to sell Spurs? It's on. It's mainstream.
The conversation is.
Yeah.
But that's what you need to fan the fire. Still, I'll give you a prime example. You look at it, and obviously you're not on Twitter anymore, so you don't know what's been going on. You and I have regularly, with due reason for certain things, gone nuts at the trust and tried to hold them accountable for the not turning up to our protests, not doing this, not doing that. Obviously, the good work they do away from the footballing matters for everything, we always applauded. We just didn't understand what they do for footballing matters. You look at it. I had Martin on my show. You and Ian did a show with Martin, who spoke freely. He had enough. He realised when his break-off time was. He left the trust because he just couldn't do it anymore, because he wanted to be more involved with holding the board more accountable and couldn't do it via the trust. He left the trust. He put on Twitter his parting message to Donna and Daniel. And ever since then, he is rampant calling the board. And I do mean rampant. But it took him leaving the trust because the trust wouldn't go that way. But all of us would go beforehand, and before you spoke to Martin, before I spoke to Martin, had a very, very different view of the trust.
No, Brian, we're in touch with each other, let me tell you.
So am I, mate. I speak to Martin on a weekly basis. And you see on Twitter, he's going absolutely berserk. He is now, because he's got this, the responsibility of the trust away from him, and he hasn't got to be tied down to what the majority says. He's now going bang, 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 bang. And this is why things are changing. Because people have now had enough and have said, right, it's now time to jump on board. And still, you and I've watched the show you did with Martin. It's excellent. And you've spoken to Martin, and you probably had a different view of Martin after doing that show. And like I said, he has been very, very, very forward with what he's interacted on Twitter, calling things out. And you've got to remember, to the Tottenham Hotspur board, Martin being let loose is a big worry to them, because he knows everything that's gone on in the past. So it's taking people like him to finally come out. And that's why, again, for once, I've got a little bit of hope, a little bit of optimism and belief that with what's been going on, everyone has reached the breaking points that everyone on this panel had a different breaking point, or some of us may have the same, and in the chat. But these people are now acting. And I did my thing with Martin in June. He had no idea of leaving. He had no thought of leaving the trust. He had no thought of... Yeah, go on.
What I think I'd like to see going forward from this, I agree with you. We need to welcome the people and the channels that have turned and come to our way of thinking and now want to support a cause and take action. For this to work, though, we do need, and I think this is alluding to the point that Iggy was making, we do need to see them, rather than just speaking the words, actually taking action, i.e. having meetings, meeting up, making plans, showing a united front between all the channels as well, having open dialogue with the channels. As an example, let's say Stel goes on Last Word on Spurs and Ricky comes on Tottenham Away, and we have constructive, friendly conversations, all rooted to the same cause, right? And the reason for that is obviously to gain awareness to the wider general public and the fans watching the various different channels and stuff like that. And I also think as well that the people behind the protesting also need to be involved, not maybe publicly like on YouTube, but in the back end, organising, making sure that there's the available funds to do, let's say, flyers as an example, or balloons or whatever that is. Making sure that things like there's like a GoFundMe page for the movement, so they're funded, and that maybe the treasurers or the trustees that hold that fund is all the different YouTube channels, so there's accountability with how that money is being spent. So things like this need to happen, and I think for this to become real, I think people would expect this sort of stuff to happen now. So hopefully you can. And people that are speaking to the right people. Maybe Martin's the right person to be leading that, right? I don't want to elect him. You know, he has to want to do it as well. But
I suggested that to Ian. I said I think Martin would be a good face for it. I think he'd be the unifier. In fact, on this show, I said, Martin, I think you could link everyone up. I think you've got.
Hopefully, still we'll be out with him fairly soon. So,
yeah, we need to meet up.
Yeah,
definitely. I know we've been talking about leaving Enoch, and listen, we could go on for another 3 hours, no problem. But well, now and a half.
Can I just answer what Sue Smith said about the trust? There are one or two comments about the trust that I feel are fairly unfair.
The trust is a chocolate.
I came on early on when I first came on your show. And I told everybody about my experience with Levy in 2007, when he increased the season ticket by over 57%. For me, personally, it wasn't across the board, it was mine and where I was sitting. I stood up at an AGM and asked him how he could justify that, explained who I was, first of all, gave him my history as a Spurs fan. You would have thought there would have been a certain amount of goodwill, maybe a certain amount of schmooze before he came back with an answer. No. One liner, it is a privilege for you to come and see your club. That is the sort of person you are dealing with. I hope everybody has sympathy with the trust, because the trust have been treated like a pile of shit by the club. And it's very, very difficult. The trust are there to try and help the fans. And as Martin was explaining, when he came on. It's very hard, you know, when you're hitting a brick wall. You do your best. You've also got to bear in mind that the trust are still working for fans. They're trying to help with arrangements on European games. They're trying to fight price increases. They've been fighting the discounts for senior citizens, and there are so many other things that the trust get involved in that the fans don't even hear about. I've got every month, beginning first of every month, I get a newsletter. I'm a life member of the trust. I've been with them since day one, about 20 years ago, and that they're working behind the scenes. They do it free of charge. They don't get paid for it. This is a labour of love for these guys, so they deserve a little bit of respect. You know, if you look at how Levy treated his own manager, Martin Jol, half time, what chance do you think the trust have got? So, you know, let's think about it.
No, I think when people bash the trust, because I've bashed them, it's because they refuse to take a stance against the board, and their answer to it is always, "Oh, but we'll burn our bridges." But what have your bridges done for us? What bridges? You know, listen, regarding helping disabled fans, the safety of travel for away day fans, ticketing issues, they're fantastic. I've always said that's their cause. But the day Martin Cloak and Kat chose to get involved in emailing the board about football, once they chose to enter that arena, they've made a mess of it. And they should either stay away from it or go fully in. What they've done is they dabble their feet in to kind of show people that we are trying. And that's been the problem. That's where the criticism for the I'll be honest with you, I'd rather the trust stays out of it. I'd rather the trust does what the trust does that's great.
Absolutely.
And let fans just do what we do. Regarding the football side of things, I want to talk about Ange, guys. I want to talk about Ange because as much as Enoch and Levy are a massive problem, and I think most fans now agree, look, this board have got to go. I think everyone's agreed on that across the fan base. I'd say at least 90%. Regarding Ange, I think it's a 50-50 split. I do want to talk about it because, look, we did have a game yesterday, believe it or not. Yeah, there was some football. On the day of Bill Nick's birthday, the man that won us the double in 61, played for us in the 51 Cup, league title winning team as well. The one that we call the Godfather for Spurs.
Yeah.
Thank God he ain't around no more, man. Bless him.
Well, here's the thing. On his birthday, we played a team below us that everyone said we'll beat. They've lost 7 in a row. They've only scored 2 goals. Jamie Vardy's goals have dried up.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Tottenham. We lost 2-1 at home. A shocking second half performance. Let me just show you this stat. 1912 was Tottenham's defeat against Leicester. Tottenham's defeat against Leicester today was the first time since 1912 that they'd lost to a team that had been on a 7-game losing streak. That's how bad that result was. And essentially, whether you like it or not, this novice educated our manager. And, you know, Samare bossed the game. Do you remember these two? Not good enough for Spurs? Yep. One of them was in midfield. And essentially, where this leaves us as a club under Ange, and we can't blame this all on Levy because I think that would be unfair. But if you want to, go for it. 1 win in the last 11, and that 1 win was against Southampton, who are the only team to be below us when you look at the points accumulated chart in the last 12 games. So in the last 36 points available, we've picked up 4. The only team we've beaten is the one team that have accumulated less points. Leicester have won 3 more points than us. Our form is horrendous. It's actually on a par, right? It's on a par with the season we got relegated. Our points are equal. And imagine back then it was 2 points for a win. Now it's 3 points. Just so you can understand how bad this is. And look, this is why fans are split. These are all the managers we've had under Levy and Enoch. Pleat, George Graham at the bottom there. Let me move the banner. George Graham, Pleat, Hoddle, Pleat again, Santini, Martin Jol, Clive Allen for a little bit, Ramos, Redknapp, Villas-Boas, Sherwood, Poch, Mourinho, Mason, Nuno
They're gonna
Conte,
put on a show for you, and just because oh no, that's the wrong song.
Let's go. Because
Rory, one second. I'll come to you, right? I'll come to you. When you look at it, this is why fans are split. Those that are Ange out are like, this is unacceptable. Even with the players we've got, we shouldn't be losing all these games. And if you tactically set up different, surely we can get a couple of draws and the odd win. Whereas the Ange in are saying, oh, come on, we can't keep changing manager. What has this ever done for us? Look, I'll start. I'm Ange out. And the reason I'm Ange out is because of things like this. And I'll show you. This was the second goal. Right? At the bottom, you can see Porro. He's passing to Bentancur, who's in that circle. Bentancur's under pressure, being shut down by Samari. Why pass it there? Pass it back to Dragusin. No. You pass it to Bentancur, we lose the ball. This is Ange's tactics. The centre-backs are half a mile apart. The number 10 for Leicester City, who I've circled, he's unmarked. And yet we're playing with three midfielders. Up at the top of the pitch, circled, is Gray. Where is he? Why is he in an attacking position? And then you've got Richarlison. The reason I've circled Richarlison, because he should be the highest player up, the striker. Where's Pape Sarr? He should be marking the Leicester player. And then when the ball goes to the middle, now you can see Pape Sarr coming onto the screen. He was behind Richarlison. This is the tactics that, for me, no one can tell me that we are tactically set up to be able to defend transitions against us. And this is where it costs us. And then on top of that, the player in midfield drives into the space. Does anyone go to him? Nope. And then eventually he gets his shot away. And just to put the icing on the cake, Ben Davies turns his back on the player. And then people tell me, but Ben Davies, he's a solid number. He's a good 7 out of 10. He's a steady Eddie. Guys, this is why I'm Ange out. As much as I like going forward and we score goals, defensively, I just think he's inept, man. And we need someone that's got balance. Anyway, I'll
let the other guys discuss the things. Well, but can you just go back to that first picture that you put up? Right, guys, stop there. Right. If anyone wants to know what the donut formation is, you can draw a perfectly round circle. Right? Honestly, if you start from Davies, is it Davies there? Right, and go. You can. What a brilliant donut formation that is.
Who's that? Davies, Gray, Bergvall, Charlton. Brilliant. There you go. That isn't down to injuries, guys. Any which way you put it, that is not an injury. If you think it is, tell me how. I'd love to learn.
My biggest beef and the number one thing because for a while I was edge out doubt, but it was the beginning of the season, that sham of a platform of town hall where they invited selected people, and Ange said it there at that press conference. He basically said, I'm not going to do whatever it takes to cross the line. He laughed at the idea or the thought of being pragmatic. At that that town hall meeting at the beginning of the season, I think it was during the summer, right before the season started, him and Daniel Levy and Sonny was there, a whole stamp. And now that, I watched yesterday's game, because once again, like I said, he will not do what needs to be done. We're up 1-0 against Leicester City, right? You think he would want to set up a solid shape, to preserve this victory, because we're bleeding. We're bleeding. We're hemorrhaging. I used that analogy a couple of weeks ago, and we're still bleeding. He is not doing what it takes to get a draw, get an ugly victory, to be able to stop this bleeding. He's unwilling to do that. And my biggest beef, and I've said this once before, and I'll say it again, in a team that's lacking leadership, the players, the team, they're looking to you. Rewind the tape. And we're trailing 2-1. And all he does is just hand in his pocket and he just stares. You're not screaming at your players. You just show the picture. Guys, stay. midfield. Like, he's not doing anything. He shows no emotion. That is your leader. That is your leader, the manager. You know, we make fun of it, but you gotta love the Joses, the Contes, the Peps.
Well, Mari, Conte and Jose, as Maz said, that you wouldn't see a donut. There's no donut when they play.
But even then, they're trailing. They're trying to bring up. You see the Pep, like they're trying to motivate the players. They're trying to bring anything to this, and he's just standing there, sitting there, like you have a face of defeat. How do you think the players are going to expect? They'll look at the leader. He's just sitting. He's just like standing there, and just a stare. And for me, it drove me crazy. I'm like, you're not screaming at the players. You're not directing them. You're not trying to spur your team on to get an equalizer. He's just standing there, and that's what for me. I'm like, yo, this guy has to go. He's not a leader. He is not a leader. And then I went back to look at why he had some beefs with the Australian national team and whatsoever, and it was almost the same complaints. So for me, I'm Ange out because first, number one, his tactics suck, but overall, he is not the leader to stop this bleeding. Matter of fact, he's caused this bleeding, and I want him to go. Like I want my manager to be a leader of men, and he is not. He's just standing there, having that defeatist face. How do you think the other players are going? You look at it like the players. If you don't care, the players don't care. Ian's been complaining about there's no fight in this team. Iggy's like there's no fight. Well, it comes from Ange. Ange is not fighting for us.
He's got a point, isn't he? He's not fighting.
Ange is not fighting for us. So you expect the players to fight? Your leader is not fighting.
We're in deep stuck. I know I did a video yesterday saying about there's no fighters. Generally, I don't see a team that's fighting for the position that they're in. At best, you should always fight no matter where you are in the league. But even though the league standing doesn't quite say that we're in a relegation battle, I think in terms of form,
Iggy, we are. Iggy, we're in a relegation battle.
We definitely are. And in terms of the manager, I don't think he's proved many times to me this certainly in this period that he's inept. And I think in the situation that we're now in, he doesn't have any experience whatsoever how to deal with a relegation battle situation. So on that aspect of things and the results, because fundamentally, whether we like it or not, it's the results business. Even football results, it is a business there. So everything suggests that he should go. We've had managers that have gone for way least than what's happening out now. So on that, everything tells me that results, form, the way we're playing, the atmosphere at the club, the players who don't show any fight. I think for me it's very flat, very dead, and this isn't a quick fix. Even a new manager coming in, they might give you a little bit of a bounce, but the problems are there, guys. So everything says to me that Ange should go, in my opinion. But for the reasons you guys have said all evening about the whole Levy and the pressure and stuff like that, I kind of agree with what JP said. Keep him in there. So not that I want to, because fundamentally for me, whilst I understand everything and the reason why he should be in, he has to go, man. It's as simple as that. He has to go. He needs to go. And that's where I'm at. In terms of what you guys showed in the picture there, I will say one thing to defend him. In that situation, we're on the ball and we are in control. Whilst we're on the ball, we're in control. Poro, just before you got that picture there, he had an opportunity. He received the pictures, had a look. Sarr has gone for a midfield diagonal run into the channel. Right there. Just before that, Poro was facing where Richarlison was. He could have put a ball down the channel because Sarr had made a diagonal run, left his spot to make a diagonal run to the right to receive. But what Poro did, he pissed about with the ball long enough to then get pressured, and then he's played a really crap pass. Who could have put around the corner ball to the channels, even a blind one, just play it. But what he did, because he took this time, he waited, which meant the only pass he had was Bentancur. He was put under pressure. The ball was really rubbish through Bentancur. He gets dispossessed. Now we're in trouble because we're in possession, so we're ready to kind of move on. Yes, I admit the Gray
But
shouldn't
Iggy,
have been as far as he was.
Iggy, you're right.
No,
You're right.
he
But
shouldn't have been as far as he was. But
there's no one in the
know,
middle of the park. Where's the midfielder? Where's the centre mid?
Bergwijn was over there, but Sarr was there, but he made the run.
Berg was in the number 10 position. Pape Sarr's in the stand holding the Levy out banner, according to Rich.
but at the same time, Stel, you just said yourself, he plays that ball to Dragusin. We circle the ball into Davis and go to the other side. What I'm saying is the decision making of the player in that moment is at fault. Tactically, you can talk about it for sure.
But
fundamentally horror, man.
Okay, but there's teams
in that instance. But I agree. Listen, we've been in bad shit shape for a long time.
Listen, Pro's to blame. Pape Sarr's to blame. None of the centre backs pushing out into the midfielder to blame, and then Ben Davies turning his back on the ball. There's 4 layers of blame. However, there's teams when they lose possession, they're shaped so that they can not be broken down so easily. It just feels like all season, no matter what team we've got on the pitch, we saw it at Crystal Palace, we saw it against Ipswich.
Yeah,
teams slice through us so easily. It's like we've got this really soft, easy way of breaking through us, and I don't. And that's why
our opponents have worked us out. Have you not really? Our opponents know exactly how to get at us. How many times have you watched Spurs goals, the goals we concede, and said? Same. It's a continuous, repeated. It's almost like copycat goals that we are conceding, and that's why, man. I know, and this is the thing I was talking about earlier. We are absolutely ripped and bantered by absolutely everyone. Even I wouldn't be surprised that the memes they even made some of the Spurs fans, because it's got to that point that it's so doom and gloom that we have to start joking about things just to keep the mood a little bit alleviated, because humor is the only thing that can get you out of in our instance. So this is why we get this is daily stuff that we get. It used to be Arteta before. Now that's long gone.
But Ian, can I quickly do some super chats? So I don't want to interrupt you because otherwise I lose track of them, and I'll come straight to you. I don't want to interrupt. Terry O'Shea, he says, Iggy, don't be skeptical. This was about earlier on. It might give off the wrong message. The message should be clear. Together with Unity, guys, we are going to do this. Big up to London Bro, who put in a super. London Bro, thank you so much, bro. Thanks for supporting the channel. Anthony Lafleur says, big up still on the panel. If your fan base is serious about wanting change in ownership, you have to keep applying the pressure. We will. Eni Rodrigo, raise money, print shirts, and hand out at the entrance. There's actually a plan, I think, regarding this, from what I've understood.
In a stadium.
We've got to be careful, though, because of past things regarding funding money. But time to dare to do says, Ange blaming injuries doesn't instill confidence in squad players coming in, as they must think, well, he can't rate me then, and like the Levy out go fund.
Can you block Charlie Brown? Can you block him?
If he's been offensive, yes. If it's just opinions, no. But I'll look at it now. Ian, go on.
Yeah.
I'll do it now.
Charlie Brown.
I was just saying, they take yesterday. He's pushed Sarr, but we're just talking about Ange. I don't want to delve it too much into the game because you're going to move on to that, aren't you, Stel? But in terms of decisions by this manager, Sarr's plainly unfit, and he sticks him in.
You know what you said, Charlie.
Right. Richarlison.
Sorry, Ian, Murray, type in the private chat for me. Type in the private chat. Go on, Ian, sorry.
Just saying, Sarr wasn't fit. You could see that yesterday. You know, it was a poor game. He wasn't his normal. You know, the guy's an engine. He gets around the pitch, whether you think he's any good or not, or his passing is good enough, that's another matter. But he hardly got around the pitch. Just wasn't fit. Secondly, Richarlison, they slung him on. They gave him 45, 50 minutes against Everton. They put him on. They took him off. When did they take him off yesterday? They took him off on 65 or 60, was it? So instead of easing the guy back in, and he scored 2 goals as well. So good luck to the bloke. So they've overpushed him initially. He's now got a groin injury. Sarr's probably aggravated the injury that he had. Gray couldn't move in midfield because he picked up a knock. You could see, I don't know if anyone saw, he got a whack. I think it might have been on his hip. So he was struggling. There is no, I don't know. He should have started Reggie on, played Gray at right back instead of Porro, and given Porro a rest, because Porro is on the floor with exhaustion at the moment, which is possibly one of the reasons why he had such a shocking match yesterday. I'm not making excuses for mistakes. I'm just saying that there are mitigating circumstances. Kulusevski, again, run into the ground, couldn't move, doesn't spring away from his fullback as he has been doing, and this is the big problem with Postecoglou. He's absolutely killed the squad. He didn't rotate when he should have done. He just kept the same players. Now he's having to now we've got an absolute shit show going on. I mean, you've got two 18-year-olds that have walked into this, can't believe what's going on. And they've been two of the best players we've had in the last 2 or 3 months. The whole thing is a joke. They are off their feet. They will probably get hammered by 5 or 6 at Anfield. Please don't let anybody be surprised if we get absolutely murdered next week. And I think Ange.
You going to Anfield?
Sorry?
You going to Anfield?
Yes, I'm going.
Sorry about that, mate.
I'm seeing what you're saying about 4 or 6, and you're going to take a 4-hour trip there and back, knowing your fate.
That's the love of the club, isn't it? That's the love of Spurs.
It is a total heads gone. I must tell you something. Snell and I went up to Old Trafford together. We got home. I mean, the game finished at 6:25. We got back about 1:15, didn't we? And I just looked at Man City, and Man City, instead of a 4:30 like United, was a 5:30. And I thought, do you know what? Can I be asked? I get back in on early hours of Monday morning. I've got a 7 o'clock start Monday, as I normally do. I just thought, blow it.
Ian, let's have it right. We went to Man United, where we were for once the favourites, and Man United were on their knees. Ten Hag was on the brink of being sacked, and he ended up getting sacked. We're never experiencing that again. That's not happening again.
But the point I'm making is...
Great day out, though. It was a great day out. It was brilliant.
It was a great day out.
Other than the Enoch In fan that tried to knock me out in this.
That's right.
Afterwards.
I wonder how he feels about things now.
I've got to say, it was funny. We're waiting outside.
Love how you doing?
Johnny and I are waiting outside for Still because he sat elsewhere. We look at the time. 5 minutes goes by, 10 minutes goes by. He's having a row. Someone's picked a fight with him in the unbelievable. A Spurs fan has picked a fight with him after the game.
Come for me in the terrace.
How mad are these people? But
Ange out now. Do you want Levy out now? It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
I missed City 4-0. Billy Cairns told me that it was the atmosphere there behind the goal was just magnificent. And those great away days you remember because there's so few and far between.
When you win away from home, it's the best.
It is fantastic. And I just thought, you know what, for that 5%, maybe it's not even a 5% chance at Anfield. I just thought, you know what, it's an afternoon. If we get through and I'm not there, I'll be gutted. So
can I tell you a story? Do you remember the year that Spurs knocked Liverpool out the FA Cup when Klinsmann and Sheringham scored? And we won
93.
95. He came after the American World Cup in 94.
95, Brian.
95, yeah. 95. That game, right? Because we went up there. Everyone knows we've won like 3 or 4 times, whatever, in 100 years there. It's like going there is you've almost written your surrender form and waved the white flag before you've even got in, right? When we knocked them out the cup, right? The Scousers were going to beat the living daylights out of the Spurs fans because where the away end is, as we're coming out, the fans did a conga coming out the terraces. La 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 la. Wait, la, la. It was like we felt like we won the World Cup. So
amazing days out.
The funny thing is, Ian, there's 2 results out of 3 in our favour. So here's to hoping, man. I don't know who the Terry Sheringham and Klinsmann's going to be in this situation. I really don't know.
I must tell you, Iggy, I just pray that we get some of these injured players back because otherwise we'll be going there with 5 teenagers in the first 11, let alone 2.
Yeah, but if he starts,
Ian, sorry, Still, just very quickly. But Ian, what is that going to do? Tell me, because this is the bit that I
Van de Ven?
don't get, and this is the bit I don't get about people in the chat and on Twitter and stuff like that going, "Oh, but he needs players." Players do not fix tactics, right? We could have Romero and Van de Ven back, but if we've still got people up, if we've still got fullbacks that are high up the pitch, just like we were shown in the pictures and stuff like that, and we've got no midfield and they're all over the place leaving gaps, you're going to have the people like Salah. All these guys, I'm sorry, that's not going to do anything. They're going to rip us apart.
Do you know what?
To be fair, Lee, at home, it wasn't quite like that. It wasn't quite like the 6-3 game. It was different in a cup.
No, you're right, and that's the issue.
I'm
with
just
this
saying,
manager,
Anfield.
Certain teams, he gives a lot more respect to than other people, right? And we've seen that with City. We've all had the argument whether he did it off his own back or if it was forced changes, the way they did it.
They were falling apart, weren't they, City? They were falling apart when we went there.
They were, but after the 6-3, you've got to ask yourself, did he do it because he wanted to do it, or were we forced because of the way they played us? Listen, if he goes up there and sticks 10 players behind the ball, then fair enough to him. He's got a game plan. And he's trying to keep that 1-0 lead. But if he goes up there with the open, like we've been against Leicester, against Palace, all this kind of stuff, I'm sorry, it don't matter. We've got Van de Ven, Bastoni in there or whatever. You're getting ripped apart if holes are like that.
Do you not think we'll be pushed back so much by Liverpool that our fullbacks won't get a chance to madly invert and start pushing?
I don't think Liverpool push you back like City in that do.
Oh, they do.
I think they like the
Liverpool
openness.
quite
I don't think
controlled.
they like a low
They're
block.
quite a controlled team under the slot, aren't they? They're quite measured.
Yes.
Listen, we saw it in the 6-3. If we go in it the same as we did there, then we're getting torn apart.
Lee,
If he goes in with a game plan like he did against City in that, then listen, fair enough. They give it a go, and we lose by 1 or something. Then fair enough. But if I'm afraid that he's not going to change his ways and do exactly the same thing.
It's got so many problems currently. I mean, if Maddison's got a calf, Solanke's out, Richarlison's got a groin. I mean, who's going to score the goals? Timo Werner and Johnson.
No, Werner's out.
Werner's out. Yeah, that's it. Sorry. So we haven't really got much of an attacking threat at the moment. No. We've got to hope that Maddison at least.
Surely Brennan Johnson's back soon. He does have goals in him. He'll be back soon, surely.
Yeah, can
score another time for Lancashire to be born.
What, like he was yesterday in the 94th minute?
Does anyone here want to keep Ange out of curiosity? Does anyone here think, you know what?
My biggest thing,
other than to increase the Levy out noise, does anyone from a footballing perspective want to keep Ange at the club?
No, because even the problem is his decision making on and off the pitch is diabolical. And I'll repeat what I said yesterday. I think the way that he's managed the squad in terms of incomings and outgoings and rotation is absolutely diabolical. You get rid of 2 defensive midfielders, right? And you bring in 2 kids to replace them. And then you don't want to play them for the first 10 or more games. And you only play them now because there's an injury crisis.
Maz, yesterday's decision. I'm sorry, this is how inept he is. Yesterday's decision, when he comes out and says Sarr should never have started yesterday, right? His decision to play Gray at left back when we've got Reguilon, who is a left back who's fit, who actually looked good when he came on yesterday, and not play Gray in the number 6 or in midfield, if you like, over someone that was only 50% fit. For me, is unacceptable.
Well,
completely unacceptable.
Here's something that hasn't necessarily been discussed in any great depth on all the shows. He's brought in Kingsky into the team, and you've got to think to yourself, why has he brought him in? It's surely not to replace Forster or Austin, right? And then you think, actually, it
Forster's
must be
on his way out, apparently.
Right, yeah, but it must be to do that. Then you're thinking, hold on, does Ange value that goalkeeper position so much over and above getting a defensive midfielder, let's say, or another top quality central defender if they're available, right? Over and above, other positions on the pitch.
Who doesn't
That
want five
that
goalkeepers,
stinks.
Maz?
Well, this is it,
And,
and this is precisely what I'm going to. Is like his decision making and how he's accepting the way that we're just haphazardly building this squad, this team. No wonder all the players don't believe in it, because you can just imagine like Romero sitting off on the sidelines injured, thinking, hold on a minute, why has he gone and bought another young kid for a goalkeeper? What is the point in that?
Maz,
I
I think the last two interviews or last two press conferences he's done, it's quite clear that he's got no interaction with the transfers whatsoever.
Well, there you go, and he's taken responsibility for them. So I don't know who's the bigger fool.
And this
him
whole
for perpetuating the club's lies, or him accepting it to begin with.
This cohesive Spurs that apparently we've got as a club, right? When he comes out and says, "I barely speak to Daniel Levy," tells you everything you need to know about what's going on behind the scenes.
That was
absolutely no interaction
I said this for 2 years.
The guy that signs the checks,
right? He's got to be one of the biggest idiots, right? He either knows what he's doing or he's the biggest idiot.
He's a yes man. We said
he's
this.
The ultimate yes man. It's not a yes man. He's the ultimate yes man.
Yeah,
right.
And then people get upset when we say it. We say like he's complicit.
I sussed him out from the bloody start of when he first came. Right. He's a walking contradiction. He doesn't know what is coming out of his mouth.
The mad thing is the mad thing is, if it hadn't have been for Austin, we'd have probably lost in Hoffenheim.
Yeah.
He played well. Which was the other game? Was it Newcastle? He made his debut.
The first
played
game.
Well against Newcastle, played well against Hoffenheim. I don't get why they had to bring in another keeper.
This is what I said when we signed him, and because he made a couple of good saves against Liverpool, he's amazing. He's brilliant, and since then he's conceded every game 2 or 3 goals.
I've got to say, Vicario wouldn't have let Trossard's goal in, and he wouldn't have let the second goal in on Sunday either. Yesterday,
do you know what? I don't think
honestly, I
should
think
be given a chance, and I said it when it happened. I told you the academy rate him.
I agree to that.
I agree with that. Highly rate him. They think he's a really good.
He was man of the match. He was man of the match against Newcastle.
Well, look. Si's come on, right, to our channel. We haven't seen him in yonks, right? Si, what do you think of how Ange has put together the squad and his tactics?
That's an easy one.
There's the saying I was always taught many years ago is you can't polish a turd. So I think majority of these players are not good enough. We know there's no doubt. It's been like this for years and years and years. Like it's not anything new, is it? I will always go back to the point when Ange was appointed. I was like, what do we expect? Like I'm not expecting anything whatsoever. I will always support the team. I'll always try and back the manager the best I can. You get to a limit where that you question your own mindset on it. And I think, everyone talks about that wonderful 10 first games that he's had, and it all fell apart because one player got sent off and then injuries happened. And then, as a Spurs fan, with a correct mindset, you would understand that we are not going to fix this problem of replacing players or bringing new players in. Daniel Levy's not going to bring in players that don't have a sell-on value, that's for sure. And he's not going to do anything, last minute in terms of, bringing someone in randomly for no reason. So when we're looking at what's happened in the last sort of, say, 12 months at least, I always ask the question, have I seen progression? Have I seen development of players? Now, you can argue like, a manager's that, a coach does that. I think it's irrelevant. I think you should see some form of progress in the ability of players and the way that they play. I haven't seen that. So when we're judging a manager, I don't like seeing people lose their jobs. I don't care what position they're in. Unless you're Daniel Levy, I don't like seeing people lose their jobs. Like that's just me as a human, right? So you do have to get to a point where you have to be realistic and say, this is unacceptable. There is no plan B. There's no plan C. Irrespective of the injuries, you would think after, say, 18 months of the training that they do every day, we see the YouTube videos before every single game. It's the same drills, same press, etc., etc., but it doesn't progress onto the pitch. So what the hell is going on? That's either the players aren't good enough, which we know anyway, and secondary to that, the manager is not enforcing this enough. We're now passing sideways again. We're now passing backwards again. I've seen this for years. And what are you doing? The first 10 games you had free-flowing football. Yes, you've had injuries, but surely even the fringe players have been around training, have been around enough of each other to understand how we're supposed to be trying to play. So it's got to a point where, again, there's now a massive divide in the fan base, not just because for the owners, but now because of the manager. So I know full well why we're in this position. It ultimately comes down to the same man above, because we've been put in this ridiculous position to have an 8th or a 10th choice manager. We've been put in a position of having, youthful players that could potentially be great, but we don't know. And 9 times out of 10, they don't. And we've been in a position where we don't have mature players. We don't have, leaders, nothing like this at all. So what do you expect? What do you expect for having the opportunity or the option of a 10th choice manager? What are you expecting? Like, what are you actually expecting from any of this? Because it's not going to change. That another manager will come in. It's the same group of players. Yes, we could get more out of it, but what is actually the fundamental issue here? So we can go all day long about Ange this, Ange that, but the fact of the matter is, you change them, you're going to be in the same situation 12 months, 8 months down the line. This is the whole point of the delusional aspect of most Spurs fans, is we keep going around in this circle.
So
it's not stopping.
I agree with the merry-go-round, and I get that point. But my biggest problem when we say getting rid of him won't fix anything. Yeah, but how about
it would change things on the pitch? I guarantee that.
Yeah,
it's not good enough.
The way absolutely the way I come at it is, one, we need to stop the bleeding, right? And two, we need to stop ourselves from getting relegated, right? That is the short-term goal, right?
You change your formation, you change you do something, and it's not happening. So how is he still there? It's got to be this promise of a trophy in his second season, or whatever that garbage nonsense was that he said, or there's something else. I'm amazed that Daniel Levy has not got rid of him already, but there's obviously a fundamental reason behind the scenes that we're just not clued on about at all as to why that's not happened. Because you look at the stats, and I've seen them, everyone's been passing them around about Conte, when after this many games he was in this position, Jose, this, that, and the other. What does it take when you're 15th or wherever we are now, 3/4 of the way of the season, and you're still there? I don't care whether you might win a trophy or not. You're going to get us relegated if you keep doing this. Like, what are you doing? So I'm sad. I don't know. I honestly, I think I've went insane years ago with Spurs, and I keep very calm now. I've got therapy sessions and everything about loads of things in life, and I had to bring that in for Spurs as well, because I go with my dad. I like the trip up there. I don't like the experience there, because it's horrific to watch, and this whole pressing forward. Where's that gone? Like, that's what everyone says. Ange is playing this magnificent football, this, that, and the other. Really? You think this is magnificent? I think this is absolute shit, to be honest. And I don't want to be here anymore. So how is it that this man, as I said, I don't want to see people lose their jobs, but in any job in the world, you'd be long gone, way ages ago, irrespective of the situation that you've been put in, because the top managers, the better managers, will find a solution, or at least find something to change and adapt to. And that's not what we're seeing. So that's where I crossed the line with me maybe a couple months ago, because I was backing the manager all the way through. I thought the injuries, this, that, and the other. I was like, no. It doesn't matter who you're playing in this team, however old they are, they should be doing something different. We're seeing the same setups. We're seeing the same players out of position. We're seeing just all the wrong things. and it's getting beyond ridiculous now. So why is he still there? The history would tell you that Daniel Levy would get rid of a manager but for lesser things than that. You know, why is this happening?
It's totally logical. So I know what you mean. I don't think any of us know the answer to that.
Guys,
And
real
on
quick,
top of that,
talking of Ange out, Iggy's
Go on,
out as
Iggy.
well because I got an early start, guys. But big up to every single one of you in the panel. Big up to everyone
Much
in the
love,
chat.
Iggy.
And I hope to see you. I'm going to do a video hopefully tomorrow morning about, well, there'll be plenty to
Iggy,
discuss.
Iggy, Big Vic's back in training. You happy with that?
Who, sorry?
Vicario's back in training.
I'm always happy, not just because he's Italian still, but I think he's just a great goalkeeper.
Why do I get called out?
Because you always say, you always defend him because he's Italian. That's the only reason why I defend my goalkeeper, because he's Italian, nothing else. Anyway, guys. Anyway, last parting shot. See you later, guys. Big up.
Imagine we come to Brian because he just wanted to say something. Just a couple of super chats, Brian, because they're building up again. Anthony, big up. He says, not a surprise that Ange loves a donut formation because he thinks more about donuts than football. I love donuts too, by the way. Football Heritage Sava, big up. We're signing Dibbling. Is that a fact or is that a rumour?
It's a very strong route. Concrete interest. Let me go back to buzzword.
We're monitoring.
This doesn't mean. Hold on. It doesn't mean he's got any interest to come to us.
People can leave me alone now with the 10 o'clock announcement. You can all hope in on Dibbling and Sam. Thanks, Sam.
No more tomato sauce announcements. We're signing Dibbling and loaning him back. Plus, we signed a keeper. To be fair, if we hadn't built the stadium, we wouldn't be in such a fortuitous position. We're a fucking crash. Lubo will be happy. He's always got to mention Ian. Sorry, but this notion we will be back here in 18 months. No manager has ever had us this low. We're rewriting history to prove a moot point. He has us in a relegation battle. Wake up. He does make a point there. We've never been in this situation before. We're actually in a relegation battle.
This is good because these are the exact points.
Under Levy and Enoch, though. Under Levy and Enoch.
This is why I want. These are the exact points I wanted to discuss. Obviously, you started this conversation about Ange State. I'm going to ask you to bring up two of the slides still. And the first one I want you to bring up is the one where it shows the point tallies in the last 12 games. So this is the point you got to look at is we sacked One Day Ramos for having 2 points in 8 games. He got the chop. We're bottom of the league, 2 points in 8 games. But apparently 4 in 12 is acceptable.
That's 10 actually, Brian. It's 10 games. It's 10 games.
Okay, so even that. So when we go on saying this, we've had managers lose their jobs obviously in higher positions. We've had one lost for a poor start with 2 points in 8 games. The axe was chopped, and this guy's got 4 in 10, 11, whatever it may be, but somehow he's got it. And to the point what Savile was saying just now, that super chat. The next one I want you to bring up is obviously the managerial appointments we've had. Because if you look at it, should Ange Postecoglou finish this season, he is the 4th manager in 24 years to see 2 years. Martin Jol was a fluke because Santini was there and got sacked. Harry Redknapp did his job. Obviously, we got him in for Ramos. And Mauricio Pochettino was a fluke because we wanted Van Gaal. And Van Gaal chose United. So the 3 managers that have actually lasted more than 2 years, 2 of them are a fluke. 1 of them got sacked and came in because we had 2 points from 8 games. And if you look at it and you can say 16 managers, 17, whatever, and include the caretaker managers, how sad is it that should Ange Postecoglou finish this season, whether we agree and I don't, he will be the 4th manager to see out 2 years. So when people talk about the 18 months, we'll be back here, this is why people are saying it. Sava's right, that there have been other managers that have done it, but the 3 managers that have done it, 2 of them were flukes, and 1 of them was Redknapp. No other manager, even Glenn Hoddle. Glenn Hoddle came in March and finished that season. finished another season or had one full season and was gone in September. No manager sees 2 years apart from those three. And like I said, two of them were flukes.
Brian, I agree, but I think Sava's wider point, and I agree with him on this, is that look, no one should hope that their team get relegated, right? And we have seen, regardless of how long each of the managers' tenures are, we have been consistently flirting from 7th to 4th for the last 20 odd years, right? Which you know is decent enough. So I think what Sava is effectively saying is, look, let's at least get back to that standard or in and around that standard.
No, so I agree with that.
But it doesn't take away from your wider point that we can't be going around this merry-go-round either. And I get your point about the managers not staying. But the problem with Levy is he's doing the most, I guess it's probably the most un-Levy thing, is instead of backing the managers that needed to be bloody backed, he's backing the wrong horse.
There's just no one to come, man.
This is the point I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is when Spurs fans say we'll be back here in 18 months, there's absolute precedent for it. There is all that data that Stell's got in that list or whatever you want to do. That's why the fans are going, oh, we're going to be here in 18 months. Because if you look at it, what Pochettino was the last one. How many managers did we go through before we found Redknapp to Poch? We had AVB, Tim Sherwood. I think it was just the two, wasn't it? Then we found Poch. But then from Martignol to Redknapp, I think it was one day Ramos. Those managers have come in that little kind of bubble. The period before and period after Poch, we can't keep a manager. This is why Spurs fans are like 18 months, here we go, or 2 years, here we go. I mean, how embarrassing is it that a football club like us, and that is why I've called us the Premier League Watford. Chelsea have chopped and changed their manager more times than us, but under Abramovich, it was like, I will give you the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and if you don't win the league or a cup, you're gone. I'll take the hit personally, and we'll go again. And that was the basic, obviously, understanding. When you took over Chelsea, I'm going to give you everything you need. You give me everything I need. And if you fail, you're gone. Whereas at Tottenham, it's you come here, I won't give you what you need. You make the crap that we've got from the previous managers better. I won't get rid of the players you want out because I'll ask too much money. And when you don't succeed, I'll give you the chop. That's where we're at. I would love a manager to come in. And Sava's right. I don't even think we need a manager to get us to 4th to 7th. I think we're looking for a manager now to get us from 7th to 12th.
We need a manager to keep us up.
Yeah.
Stop the bleeding.
I'm not joking. Like you saw against Tamworth, we haven't got the minerals for a relegation fight. You saw against Leicester, because when you get a relegation fight, it's a different game. It's not about entertainment, making us all, happy. You got to roll up your sleeves and get dirty. It's a scrap.
Still, but this has got to be the conversation they're having in the boardroom, right? It's all very well saying, okay, we're going to keep Ange, right, and back him, whatever backing means in their world, right? But he's, as Sai rightly said, has he improved anyone? His tactics isn't going to change just because
he's improved 2 or 3 players.
Player or two.
He's improved 2 or 3 out of 25.
No, he hasn't. He's improved.
I said 2 or 3 out of 25. That's I reckon.
It's tangibly improved. It's we think he's. It's not like yes, he's 100% improved them. We think he's improved them, and I think that's the big difference. I mean, everyone says Kulu. No, if you look at Cooley when he first came to Spurs, he was doing the same thing. He was ripping it up when he first came. So he's getting back to that level, right? Who else has he improved? You can't say Gray and Bergvall because they're kids. They should be on a trajectory going up. They're young kids. They're growing up, right? Papasar the same. He's growing up. He should sort of improve. Although I don't think he's.
I think Spencer's improved, but then again, there's not much. It's not much to base it on. It's not much to base it on. I'm clutching at straws.
I think that might be the issue, though, Maz and Stel. What you're saying about Ange, maybe that's the reason why he is actually still there, is because there is no one else. Like, you are now in a position where you got, if you want a top quality manager, an elite manager, which is not going to happen anymore probably anyway, like you're going to have to convince them that you're in a bit of a struggle here, mate. You're 17th or whatever it is, and we haven't got any money for you to spend because we're putting it into our shareholding pot to buy more of the business, etc. So the numbers were thinning before Ange got here, and we're now the 18-month process or however many months it is. We're now stuck in we're stuck in a really much worse a position than we were back then, because at least you're thinking ahead, right? We're in the middle here, like we're chasing the top four, whatever. Got good stability around us. We're going for it. But I said last summer we haven't got enough players in. You can get rid of as much deadwood. Tick the box for the deadwood, whatever. They've gone on and done brilliantly at the clubs, whatever. Good luck to them. You haven't bought enough players in. You put too many out. You haven't bought enough in. You haven't bought enough quality in. You haven't bought enough maturity in. So we're now stuck in the situation. I think most of us predicted what would happen. To be honest, at some point, I said all the Spurs were, "Oh no, you're being negative." I was like, "I'm not being negative. I'm being logical. Come November, we are going to be screwed. We're going to be screwed because the main players will be running out of energy. They'll get injured. We'll go in the same loop round and round." So that's why maybe, just maybe, Ange hasn't gone yet. Because if they put Ryan Mason in, the fans will go absolutely mental. And so therefore Ange is sat there because there is no replacement. Who in their right mind, unless maybe a bit.
Simon, this is what I was going to say, right?
They've already seen how Mourinho got treated and how Conte got treated.
Exactly. Why would you come to Spurs to end your career unless you like money? That's the only reason. Why would you come to Tottenham? Especially in the position that they're in now. Why would you be so delusional in your career to ruin it, other than money, and come and take over Tottenham right now? Unless you're a relegation.
That's what I keep saying, Si.
Hold on. Ian, 1 second. I agree with all of this, which is why I honestly think the conversation they're having is, if this carries on, we are so in deep shit, it's unreal. Or two, it's fine. We will just about stay up, but what we're building, or what they think they're building, this is part of the process. Or three, they're trying to bring in someone, but they can't bring in a proper manager. So what they're now doing is, we need an interim who can come in for 6 months and just. And if we give it to Mason, the fan base are going to go insane, so we can't do that.
Who's out there as an interim manager?
Maybe they don't know what to do, Si. Maybe they just don't know what to do.
If you bring Big Sam in, that's going to tell you everything you need to know about where exactly our club is right now. Like, I can't even believe I'm saying these kind of stupid manager names. I can't believe it. Like, it's ridiculous.
Do you guys think the board is stuck as to what to do, or do you think no, we're backing Ange, we're behind?
We all remember as kids. We all remember as kids. We read the book, The Little Boy That Cried Wolf. Well, that's where Dad Levy is right now. He's flirted and tried with everything. Everything's failed, mainly due to him failing them on so many levels. And every single time we've heard, Levy's taking a step away from the business. He's not getting involved in transfers. But then he comes to the rescue, apparently, from Archie Gray. And it's like, oh, well done. All these people going, aren't you glad for Levy? It's like, well, no, you're the one telling me that he's got nothing to do with it. Now we've heard so many different, we're going to go with the young manager. We're going to have this approach. We all know the different approaches, different styles, different philosophies of managers we've had. He's gone and had every little sweep from the pick and mix, and they've all turned out a bust because of him. And now he is the boy who cried wolf. Now he's in deep, deep trouble, and no one's going to believe him. No one's going to trust him. We all talk about it, or not we all talk about it. We all see it when players go on international duty, or they talk about their WhatsApp groups. Don't think managers speak to one another. Ange Postecoglou got this job opportunity, and fair play to him. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for him from where he's been. And Scotland, the Premier League came calling. Everyone wants to be here. They did it. Everyone can see what this man will do. Everyone can see And if any manager comes here and they actually believe, he goes, yeah, this time it will be different, then you're a fool for taking the job. If he says, I'm going to give you all these funds to invest, well, have a look at what's happened previous windows. It is a classic boy who cried wolf syndrome. And now, like you said, still, no matter where he turns, people are like, no. The only managers I think we can get, if we were to lose Ange this season, is either going to be like people said, an interim, or it's going to be a manager like Jose and Conte were. I don't mean in their stature, I mean that they were available. No compensation to pay. No, because we're not going to go buy a manager out of their contract, because we won't do it. All the wages have been slated. Look at it. Postecoglou's on a £10 million wage drop from Conte, and we're slashing wages. So either the next manager comes in and it's even lower wages because they're trying to align everything, or they're going to give him a massive wage to bring him in, but that will be compensated in the transfer. But like, I'm paying you the big bucks now. You're the big coach with a big reputation. Make these players better. This is why I pay you the big bucks. So whatever way you look at it, whatever avenue he decides to go down, he's shot himself in. And the worst thing about it is still, and the worst thing, I can't remember what I'm about to say, Daniel Levy could have turned himself into a hero. He literally, not now, obviously he's got, I'll give you a perfect example. When we moved stadiums, we moved to Wembley. Why did this idiot say it's going to be done in 1 year? We all knew it wasn't. Everyone knew it was not going to be done in 1 year. No way a building of that size and that magnitude.
Brian, he made loads of changes.
Yeah, I know he did. Yeah, and I know he did.
Loads. That's why it ran late.
And I know the changes he made. I can go into what he did with the electric in the lighting in the car park, and I can wax lyrical.
So the floor he ripped up.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm getting at is, if he had said this stadium was to be done in 2 years, and he had had it done in one, he would have looked like a messiah. Oh my God, Daniel delivered this in 1 year. There's so many times where if he didn't open his mouth and lie and promise the world and never give it, he could have made himself look so much better. There were times with the transfer market where if he got a elite player over the line, but he keeps failing and shooting himself in the foot. And this is the issue now. Not only has he done it to the fans, not only has he done it to the managers, the players we heard talking about these stupid match win bonuses have to be over 2 clear goals. The players' wages, when they go on international duty, our players, even though they're the lowest paid wage to revenue turnover, let's face it, they're on wages we could only dream of. But they go on international duty and have the piss taken out of them. Like, you're on that. I'm over here on this. This is... Unfortunately, the boy who cried wolf syndrome is what has been tried on manager, players, fans, and none of it's worked. And now everything is going tits up. I am completely with Simon, and I've said this I can't see a manager in their right mind wanting to come. And even if they're given assurances, they're not honoured. We've heard directors of football. I mean, forget Lange. I don't even know. I'm not even going to call him director of nothing. Is what I'll call him. He does not. Nothing gets done. Football directors talk stories about him. Managers talk openly about it. Players have been open about it. The fans are doing it. And this is where we are. You come to Tottenham, and we will not honour what we promise you.
What manager wants to come to Spurs knowing they're not going to win trophies? And they're not going to get backed, and they're not going to have a chance, really, of winning trophies? That's the point I mean about a graveyard.
I think it's got to be a manager from like that lower echelon that sees it as a big step. So, for example, someone like the manager of Ipswich, McKenna, he would probably do it. I think if you paid the money, if you did pay the money, it would be have to be more than what Ange is on. I could see a pathway to Iriola becoming manager.
You won't get Iriola. Yeah. Iriola will be in the same level because he's in the same level. He will be in the same level in terms of regards, albeit he hasn't won the trophies, but then he's with Bournemouth as Xavi Alonso. He is so highly rated in Europe now.
What? Xabi Alonso won the Bundesliga.
Correct. I said, but without the trophy, he is tactically, he is so highly rated,
isn't it? That's
Iriola is brilliant. For Bournemouth, 11,000 crowds.
Why would Iriola not come to Spurs?
Hang on. The smallest club still, the top 2 divisions, and he's got them to 6th place now. He is so highly lauded across Europe. Everybody's seeing what Iriola is doing.
Ian, hold on.
Seriously.
If you're Iriola, 1 minute. Let's have this conversation. If you're Iriola, there's 3 reasons you'd come to Spurs. 1, it's a club that's more geared up to have the ability to consistently play in Europe. Okay, number 1. Number 2, he will have a better squad of players than what Bournemouth have got. And he will have the striker that he got the most amount of goals out of that no other manager could do, Solanke. And he could tell the board, I need some signings and you better get me those 2 from Bournemouth as well because I know them. That's the second reason. And 3, whether we... Listen, as much as we hate this awful ownership and this abysmal situation, we're a bigger club than Bournemouth. We are. So I can see
they're bigger than us, and they will go for him.
Right, that's different. Right, I never said if other clubs going, but if we did it now, no one else is going in for a manager that is a so-called big club. Xabi Alonso we'd never get because he's more sought after because he's got that league title on his CV. I beat Bayern Munich to the title, and I got to the cup final. Right, so he's got more pedigree that makes there's more bigger clubs that would go for him, I think, than Iriola. But with Iriola, I think we can get him. I do. Whether it would work or not, whether he would fail or succeed is a different conversation. But in terms of getting him,
I think you can still.
No, but you have to have that conversation still. You can't say, "I'll bring him in," and then we're wondering whether are you going to succeed or not succeed. You have to have the conversation. This is why I keep saying.
I don't think any manager succeeds here, Matt. I don't think any manager succeeds here.
Correct.
Nobody.
No, but it depends on what your definition of success
is.
We've had managers
winning
that
trophies. Success is winning trophies.
Fine, but where we are now, I'm talking about just trying to get us back to the top half of the table, and then trying to.
Well, Iriola can do that. Iriola can do that.
Right, but you just said that. You just said that success for you is winning trophies and cups.
Yeah, but we might as well be managerless then, because then I'm never going to see that under this ownership. I've accepted that. But in terms of moving us back up into a top 4, top 6 conversation, Iriola is a manager that can do it, that I think we can get. If we want more than that, then it's not going to happen.
You see, my concern with any of these types of managers, and it happened to Pochettino, let's not forget that, right? And Pochettino needed a strong director of football to help him, i.e. Paul Mitchell, is you need a manager with bloody real backbone. Not Ange, who's the ultimate yes man, but someone like Jose and Conte, right? And I will keep saying this because if you don't have a manager with backbone who knows what players they want, right, then we're gonna get the Nkudu 3.0 and the NG 4.0 and the Danjuma 2.0 and all those types of players again, right? That's never gonna stop. The only way that stops is if you get a manager who says, hold on a minute, Daniel, after a year, this is not what I signed up for. That's what I want to see.
That's not realistic, though, Maz.
He's not going to employ a manager like that, though, right?
But hold on, what's realistic with Tottenham Hotspur?
Yeah, but that's not realistic, though, Maz.
No, but what's realistic with Tottenham Hotspur?
Well, realism is that we should have been getting coached in the first place. This man was always the wrong man in the first place.
Yeah, but it happened with Poch, though, Alex. That's not the point.
That's not the point. That's not the point. The point I'm making is. That was my point. Oh, yeah, well, my point is at the moment, because I'm hearing a lot of waffling, right? So I had to ask still to get me on, right? It's like for me, right? The managers that have been successful at this club, in my opinion, are Martin Yole, Harry Redknapp, under this ownership, by the way, and Pochettino. The 2 of them were coaches for me, right? That made players better, right? Now I don't think they're household names, right? Like Ariola at the moment is not a household name. Like Thomas Frank was not a household name. Yeah. Like Marco Silva at the time was not a household name. Yeah. So you can go and get these coaches very easily if you do your research. Right. The problem with Tottenham is, We just go for the hot property at the moment. That's the problem. It's quite clear
Yeah,
what
but
we
Alex,
need.
Alex,
It's
I'm
quite
not
clear.
disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing with you that we need a coach. I agree with you. Coaches do better at Spurs than managers, but I want a coach with backbone, right? That will stand up to the management structure, right? And say, no, this is what I need. If you don't give me what I need, there's no point me being here.
I don't
Right?
think
I'd
Levy
rather
will.
see that friction at the club than have what we have now, which is the ultimate bloody yes man.
Yeah, but the problem
I don't
is
think
though.
Levy will entertain that, Maz.
But Maz, the point is at the moment, right? I don't think that's the case with Tottenham at the moment. We've got a certain ceiling, right? And that's a certain ceiling we're going to be at the moment, right? And that's why we need coaches at the moment to say, promote the dream, saying, okay, you come to Tottenham, right? But you're not going to get to that top echelon, but it's going to head you that way, right? If you want to move to that way, cool. We've got to let you go, but we've got something else to come in to replace you to do the same things that you're doing. A coach that's going to make players better, like it's happening at Brighton at the moment, right? But at the moment, all I heard yesterday was, "Oh, we're going to sack him in 10 o'clock." Oh, Levy's coming in. I'm sitting there thinking, have we learned? Have we learned? He's exactly the same manager that is like bloody Conte and bloody Mourinho. I'm saying, no. What are you trying to do again? You're stupid. Are you idiots? Honestly, are you learning?
Oh, you're on mute.
Can't hear you still.
Sorry. Alex, who told you that? You're listening to the wrong people. I never heard anything about Allegri.
Catch up.
No, what's what I heard anyways. It's not like I'm on Twitter, but it's just like...
I mean, no, that's between you and Ian.
Anybody, but it's just like, they're hearing this absolute rubbish. So it's like, we're not learning. And it's just getting boring.
Ian, he's bad for
And it's just like, no, I'm hearing other people.
Years, Alex. 24 years.
Yeah. But JP, I'm still waiting to get married, so I don't really make a blind bit of difference. I don't care. The point is, anyway, right? The point is, though, yeah, it's like I'm just fed up of doing the same things, and it's just they don't learn. It's 24 years, they don't learn. And yes, it is on it is on Levy. Yes, it is. But he's listening to the wrong people all the bloody time. It's ridiculous. But Ange needs to go, right? Yes, he's staying, and he's getting back, by the way, because he should have been gone by now. So Levy, I'll give it on that. Levy, he's sticking with him. I'll give him that.
Alex, weren't you the person that was telling me last year that while we surprised, Ange told us he was going to do this?
No,
weren't you the person last year that said, if the board back this manager, then you're on board?
Well, yeah, that's why I can't have a go at the board. That's why I'm saying I can't have a go at the board, because they're sticking with the man. They're sticking with him.
Yeah, but you just said you just said sack Ange. You flip-flopping
bro. Now I know the things that I know now, which I was telling most of everyone that's now seeing what Mr. Botzels was saying. Everyone's seeing that I was talking the truth all the bloody time. The expert telling about this bloody manager who was absolutely bang average, by the way. Yeah, right. So like, I'm sorry. You know what I mean?
So when you said you need everything to go to shit for the board to prove to you that they're going to stick by him and not sack him for you to be on board with the project, that was all a lie.
360.
Well, no, it's not 360, bro. Because unfortunately, I'm seeing.
Unfortunately, Alex, have I caught you out, mate? Have I caught you out? You come on late, and I've caught you out.
He's a terrible manager. He's a terrible manager. Right?
Alex, JP needs to go, bro.
2 seconds. All right. Much love, everyone. Take care.
See you later, JP. Look after yourself, mate. Have a good one.
But no, I'm going to defend myself, though. I'm sorry, no, because I did say yes. I said yes. I might back the manager, yes. But at the same time, now I can't have a go at the lit board now because they're sticking with him. So it's on Ange.
Alex, you said if they stick with him, you will believe that there's a project. Ange is part of that project. So for you to now have a go at Ange means that you're contradicting your belief in the project.
I don't really care anymore, bro, because the I don't even care, man, because the manager's crap anyway. So it makes no bloody difference. You know what I mean? So
Alex, you should know that about me. I don't forget anything, mate.
I don't really care, man, because at the end of the day, I didn't believe in this manager in the first place. Let's be honest here. You know what I mean? But I didn't, like I said, I was telling you about he didn't improve anybody. Now look what everybody's saying right now. I said I'd rather have Højbjerg back in my midfield. Now look what everybody's saying
agree.
right now.
I
Yeah,
agree with you.
all right. I
agree
told you
with
no one's improved. Look what everybody's saying right now. You know what I
Totally
mean? So
agree
I
with
said
you.
most of the things that everyone's now saying at the moment. By the way, everyone's saying at the moment. By the way, and now now everyone's saying he's Ange out now. Yeah, shouting at their TV, getting ranting and raving on everyone's channel now. Yeah, it's cool now to be ranting now these days, now, isn't it? Yeah, when I
Who's
was
ranting? Who's ranting,
unleashing,
Alex? Who's
who,
ranting?
huh? Oh,
You're ranting. You're having a rant here.
you need to see. You go and watch on YouTube. Go and watch on YouTube. You know what I mean? But anyway, moving on. But like, look, I'm sorry. I'm just saying. There's no excuses. The manager needs to go. Yeah, I'm sorry. We can get coaches in. There are people in Europe that are coaches that can make this teams better. Yeah,
Alex,
I'm
can I ask you a
sorry.
question? Can I ask you a question? I don't think I've ever asked you this. If we got another manager in, do you think another manager would be successful? Success meaning win trophies under this ownership. So what I'm saying to you is, can any manager be truly successful under Levy and Enoch?
Maybe not. No. But the point is, though, they'll get us to a certain point, because what you saw with the coaches with Pochettino, they'll work with the players they got. They'll work with the young players that we've got at the moment as well, which Ange is not doing.
And then what do we do as fans when we get to that point and that's it? We can't go beyond. What do we do then?
Well, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. But at the moment, we're not doing that at the moment.
I you know, as much as I'm 110% Levy out. I can't speak in absolutes, because I mean, if we get Areola, right,
which is true, by the way,
which I'm dreaming that he will be our Poch, our new Poch, right? And let's just say he gets us to a semifinal or a final, and doesn't do a bonehead like start Sonny at wingback type of a mood. You know, we could win a trophy or two with Areola with what is given to us. Now the chances are slim to none, because we have never, as long as I've been supporting Spurs, we've never had depth. We've never had, and so that's why people who complain about injuries, it's just like Ange runs his plays to the ground. Minus we have a bad physio. We've always had a bad physio. Romero got called out on it, a couple other plays, Erickson, whatsoever. Combine that with Levy and the board never giving us depth. That's what Poch screamed for. It's slim to none. But I wouldn't speak absolutely. It says there's no manager. I would like to think, if Areola comes in, and that's who I want. And if in 2 years he gets us a FA Cup or a top 4 run, I mean, could happen. I mean, we had Redknapp, and I know Sava was saying in the chat, we had Redknapp and we had Poch. The only thing is, we didn't get trophies with them, but we had success. We were close to the finish line.
Mari, you had Paul Mitchell helping Poch. Transfers were much lower than they are now, and you're just not going to get it with Levy. Levy's cutting the wage bill down even more. So, at the end of the day, the best teams normally have the best players who are paid the highest wages. We're nowhere near. We're dropping and dropping. If our wages to revenue this year, or the last financial year up to 24, up to June 24 is 42%. This year it's going to drop to about 35, 37. We're way off it. We're way off everybody else. Everybody's overtaking us. Now, a lot of it is down to Postecoglou, the system, the training, the injuries. It's all wrapped up. But other teams who have owners who are pushing the boundaries on FFP, they're all finding a way round the rules, and no one's getting penalised. Levy's goes nowhere near there. This club is run differently to every other football club. This is why this initiative from Sava this afternoon has got to work. Everybody's got to give it their best you know, it's got to be focused, tunnel vision. We want this guy out. He is killing the club. I saw someone put building a business, killing a club, killing a football club. We've got to find like a line that's going to be that's going to promote this whole thing. You know, forget it. Iriola can come in. He'll walk out. You know, under the restrictions that Levy puts these managers. Ange is the worst manager I've seen since I started following Spurs 60 years ago. But Ange has got he is set up to fail like every other manager.
I don't agree with that.
I do.
I don't agree with that. I love you, Lubo.
24 years.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with the massive point, but I don't think he's been given. I don't think he's been set up to fail. I think he's dug his own grave. I think. I'll try and say it I'll try and say it in a different term, but I do apologise if people are offended by what I said.
No. If he had other chairman, Alex, he'd be better backed.
I don't think it really matters if he was going to get properly back. To be honest with you, but I think he's a terrible coach, terrible manager, right? I think this is more on him than people meets the eye, as far as I'm concerned. I think the results and the stats prove it, and that's back on Sava, because Sava does a really good thing on that. That's on him because he's done a really good thing on that, by the way, right? And still, by the way, as well. You know what I mean? But like I say, right? I think he rinses players out of energy, as far as I'm concerned. He doesn't adapt. He's not made anybody better. He doesn't use the coaches that he's got at the moment, who are not good enough, by the way, because Mason should not be a coach, right? Some of those coaches are bang average, as far as I'm concerned, right? Big up Danny, my guy Danny, every single time. But yeah, I'm sorry. It's on him, right? The fact that he ignores Spence and he's not playing well because of him, he's doing it to spite him. He's doing well to spite him because he's sitting there saying, "You ignore me for 6 months, bro. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you, bro." I think the same thing with Relegation. And I'll tell you this for a fact as well. I don't think Maddison really was bothered about playing yesterday. I don't think he was bothered.
Yeah, we have discussed that we think Ange and Maddison. In fact, I think a lot of people have discussed something's not right between Maddison and Ange.
I don't think he actually is bothered, by the way.
It's pretty obvious, isn't it?
You know what I mean? And I think there's a lot of the thing that they haven't got anybody in January because they have been talking to people. But I think some of the players are sitting there thinking, "Do you think I fancy going to Tottenham right now with all those injuries and the way that he's playing them?"
Well, why, guys? Can I ask you a question? Why do you think the players keep coming out in solidarity? Because with previous managers, we know that a couple of players turned on Mourinho. We know that 3 players turned on Poch as well. They wanted him gone a few months before he got fired. We know players turned on Conte. It seems no one is digging out this manager. Do you think that's a big factor as to why he's still here? That the fact that the owner might be scared that I'm actually going to lose the players this time.
Before anyone gets into this and before everyone dives in deep, I need to go and spend some time with Alana. She's just finished work, so I'm going to check out now. But I will speak to all you wonderful people very soon. Everyone in the chat, have a great evening. Everyone on the panel, have a wicked evening. Most definitely. We will speak tomorrow. Everyone in the chat, see you later. And
Brian. We need to speak about that video.
Yeah. Give me a call later on this evening. Give me a call later on this evening when you're up at 3 a.m. and it's only 10 p.m. here. Give me a call. We'll speak, brother. Everyone have a great chat.
Still, did Kulu not call you?
Just jumped out.
Later.
It's Murray.
Ange out, Levy out, Enoch out, Tapstock out, Anything Social Spurs out. I'm out.
Everyone's out. Big up, Murray. Take care. Have a good one. Yes, Ian.
How you doing?
Do you say something? Was that to me?
Yeah, to you. How you doing?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear. Sorry, yeah, I'm all right. I'm coping, mate. But yeah, how's everyone doing? Apart from Spurs, depressing everyone
all right.
as usual.
We're good. Do you know what, Danny? Danny, I'll come to you. Just 2 quick super chats. Sava says, Alex, remember you called Haaland an above-average John Carew.
Yeah,
and
funny.
Sava says, we're all talking about trophies right now, but we're in a relegation battle. Need a manager to stay the ship and stop the rot. Walk before we can run. I agree with that. I said that as well. Yeah, Danny, I've got a feeling you're going to come with a different take. I've just got that feeling. I need to speak. I've got to have my something's brewing. I can feel it.
No, do you know what? It's not even that. It's just interesting listening to people's opinions. I really just kind of in and out of streams the last kind of listening in and out for the last since the beginning of the season.
It's good to see you back, bro.
And yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. It's nice to be back. But yeah, what I mean, I've to be honest with you, I haven't really been watching a lot of Spurs this season, purely because I've had other things going on. But it's probably done me. It's helped on my own mental health, not having to fucking deal with this shit that we're seeing week in week out with Spurs. But the thing that I've been looking at is that I know a lot of people want Ange out, right? Me personally, I don't care if he goes or not. If he stays, I don't care, because regardless of what happens, Ryan Mason coming in, I still don't think it's going to do any better than what Ange's going to do. And to be honest with you, look, Ange, he is very questionable in his tactics, in his decision making, like a lot of managers are, and he has made some absolute howlers in a lot of games. But we have seen our team play some decent football at times, right? And I know we're not trying to say that he's a good manager. He should be our manager, because I think we could probably do better than him. But in terms of we can get someone who can make us be a bit more consistent. But with the way things are going, I think the way no one can come into this club with the amount of injuries we've got. And I don't care what people say. The injuries, we've got more than half of our squad injured. More than half of our squad. I know other teams have got other injuries, right? But just look at the problem is, I don't know what people were expecting going into this season, because when I didn't look at the transfer window once this summer, not once, right? I didn't even know Odegaard signed for Spurs until I saw him on the pitch. I was like, who's this geezer, right? The thing is, when I saw the end of what we had done in the transfers at the end of the season, I just saw a mid-table team. I didn't see anything more than that. That is what we are. We're a mid-table team, right? So I don't know why, if fans thought that we were going to finish higher than 10th, right? I would say you're delusional, because just look at the squad we have, right? If you look at the injuries we've got, right, and you look at the bench, we've got a bench full of youngsters, right? Leicester had a better bench than we had the other day, right? Leicester's bench was better than our bench. That is telling, and that is not down to Ange. That's down to the club, because the club don't give a shit, right? Daniel Levy doesn't give a shit.
Danny, hold on. How can you say that's down to the club and not Ange, when most of the players that are out are because of his training and tactics and the fact that we've got injuries in the first place?
But is it really down to his training? Is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
If you go back and look at the reports from Celtic and other clubs in the past, all of the players have come out saying the same thing. His tactics, his training is too intense. It's like we're playing 90-minute matches every training session. It's putting too much pressure on us. Even the sporting fitness coaches come out and saying, oh, it's nothing to do with Ange why I left, but the training and putting too much pressure on these guys is what's causing these injuries, basically. So absolutely it's on him. And do you not think that having listen, I don't want Mason in there as much as the next person, but do you not think that even giving it to someone like Mason, who's going to go, who must think, I'm not going to continue with these tactics. I'm not going to continue inverting fullbacks and playing a 5 across the top and then wondering why we're getting turned over and scored against when we've only got 2 defenders at the back. Surely someone like him can go, right, we need to be more consistent and we need to shore things up. Change the tactics, change the formation, play players like Reguilon rather than playing right left back when we've got a left back in the squad. Playing these players and rotating them for these guys that are tired of playing week in, week out. Do you not think that could potentially be a positive and it would help us for the rest of the season rather than continuing with the crap that's going on?
If I'm honest, I think it's just going to be the same. I think it's going to be, regardless of if it's Mason or not. I think I think the players are just not at the level that we require. To be honest with you, I actually think the way we are playing now, of course, you've got to take into account the injuries. Yes, maybe Ange is training them too hard. He's overusing players. He's questionable on his man management and of players and not rotating players enough. That is 100% on the manager's fault, right? And that is what has contributed towards the injuries that we've seen, and the players are dropping like flies because, I mean, he's using players, the same players all the time, and the ones that we're using right now, they're gonna in the next week or two, you'll probably have another injury or two, but. For me, I just don't see how Mason's going to change this. Even if he changes the tactics or whatever it is, I just don't think I think they're just as bad as each other. I think all the staff in the Tottenham coaches are terrible. I think all of them are. Mason's just as bad as Ange in his own way, right? And personally, I think we're just going to go from one devil to another, and that's what I see.
I see it a bit different.
I don't give it. That's why I know you might do, but it's why I don't care whether it is him or not. Like I don't think they're going to get rid of Ange just yet, purely because he's a yes man. I know Ryan Mason's a yes man as well, but I also think that I've got a funny theory on what Daniel Levy's doing to this club. I personally think he's trying to lower the standards of the fans' ambitions of where he thinks that we should be, right? Because where we think we should be because of the stadium, how much money we pay for tickets, where we've been in the last sort of 5 to 10 years in the Champions League final and all this kind of stuff, that was nowhere near what his target was. And what happened was Pochettino doing what he did overachieved, right? And I think that raised the standards of the fans of what they expected to see week in, week out, the level of players. And I think what he's done with the last 2 years with Ange is, if you look at the players they've brought in, they haven't brought quality in. They've brought some English, some British talent for way too much money, like Brennan Johnson. I mean, Solanke's a good player, but he's not great. He's okay, but way too much money for what he's worth. And then if you look at the other players, all of the players we brought in are youngsters, right? We haven't really brought any seasoned professionals. And what it shouts out to me is the standard thing that Tottenham have tried to kind of do under Levy is buy young talent, try and nurture them, sell them on for a fee, and that's it. And if you look at it, you have to look at the quality and the squad depth, right? Because to me, that screams he's trying to lower the standards of what we should be expecting. Because Ange might be sitting there saying we're going to win a title and all this kind of shit, but it's because he believes it himself. But the problem is, what every manager seems to have when they come to Spurs is they realize once they start working with Daniel Levy, it's doomed to fail. And the problem is, what I don't like about Ange, right, is the fact that, yes, I know that his training and his tactics are very, very questionable. He's running the players into the ground. But the problem is the club haven't helped him. They haven't helped him with bringing in players to deal with this injury crisis. And I think the way they're looking at it now is they don't want to sack him now because it's not going to change anything with the amount of injuries we've got. It doesn't look like they're going to bring players in. So if Mason comes in, yeah, he might steady it for a little bit, but from their perspective, I think they want to give it to him a little bit longer because I think they agree on probably what they kind of want as a club and how they can. I don't know. I just think he's kind of the perfect yes man for them. And if you look at what Ange's done,
I just think it's risky business with him.
Why would the chairman lower the standards of why would this chairman lower the expectations of the fans if the price is he's now turning the entire fan base against him? That doesn't make sense.
Do you think he cares still?
I think the fans turn up regardless.
Exactly that. The fans. Do you think?
So why did he try and get the banners taken down? Why did he try and get the banners taken down if he doesn't care?
Yeah, of course that's bad publicity, right? But
so he does care. So Danny, that's what I mean. Cares. So if that hold on.
Let me finish the point. Let me finish the point, right?
Okay.
At the end of the season, when the fans renew their season tickets and it's all sold out, right? Does he care?
Yes, if the bad publicity escalates. Yes.
No, but if he's getting 62,000 people in that stadium week in, week out, does he care?
Does he financially care? No. Does he care? Yes. Yeah. But there's two separate issues here. Because it's one thing pleasing the shareholders and the investors. It's another thing, his brand being absolutely pounded to the point where the investors don't want to touch him. And that's the point I'm making. He's turning the fans against him to the point where people will say, Daniel, we can't do business with you because it's toxic here. This is a horrible place to put my money.
Yeah, but you know what will happen is again it falls on the manager's head, and I think Ange is an idiot because he is self-destructing himself, right?
But
He's
don't you
not
think
just
if he sacks Ange, the fan base are going to go nuts as well? Because the
no.
fan base are 50-50 on Ange. Half the fan base want Ange in, the other half want him out. He'll lose that 50% of the
And
fan base.
someone
Say,
like
what
me
have
who
you
doesn't
done?
really care whether he stays in or not because it doesn't make a difference. It literally makes no difference who the
Yeah,
manager
but
is.
I think fans are split on that one, Danny. Like, I know a lot of fans that are happy to keep Ange. I know a lot that want him gone. They can't stand him. I think that's a different. It's a different
Do you know
dynamic.
what, Stel? I think Ange, right? What frustrates me with Ange is that he has got the ability to tactically change it, right? And he can be flexible if he wants. The problem is he doesn't do it enough, depending on the opponent that we're playing. That's the problem. A top level manager, right? You just look at Arne Slot this season, how he's adapted in certain games, right, for certain opponents, right? He's a prime example of a modern day manager adapting to your opponent, right? But he still has his philosophy, his key philosophy, what he wants to achieve for his Liverpool team. What Ange does is he just goes gung ho in most matches, and he's done it. He's tweaked it a couple of times in a few matches, and it's worked for him. But the problem is he hasn't done it enough, and that's his stubbornness, right? And that is what is letting him down. Because if Ange actually was not stubborn in his mindset, he actually would be would be in a better position where we are now, I think.
Yeah, but Danny, after 28 years, mate. Hold on, Ian. Just one thing. After 28 years of being a manager,
yeah,
whose average win rate is only propped up by Celtic and an under 20s Australian team. If you take those out, his average win rate over 28 years is 46%.
Yeah,
right?
that is quite bad.
That goes to show you that he's always been stubborn and he's never going to change his spots.
Yeah, he's not
going to change it at the age of 60 or wherever he is now. So I agree with you. I agree with you. His system, if he tweaked it ever so slightly and gave the respect to some of the teams the way he should do, rather than just going, I'm going my style. I don't care who the opponent is. I'm just doing what I need to do. I think you're right. His style would be very much more like Pep's style. Like a lot of people have said, you copied Pep. Well, no, Pep's, Walker and Vardiol don't go flying up there when we're trying to play up from the back in our own 6-yard box. I think you're right, but it's just 28 years of it, mate. I just don't see it changing now.
No, I just go on. Yeah,
Danny, do you think if you own the club, I'm going to ask you again. You look at the last. I mean, when we beat City, we're only 5 or 6 points off second place. That's how close. That's how close the table was. I think maybe we were 9th or 10th. We were only 6 points off. Since then, it's been calamitous. It's been 8 points in 12 games. It's been 4 points in 10 games. So now, if you're looking at the club, you're not a major shareholder. That we know Levy isn't, but Lewis has given him carte blanche to run the club on a day-to-day basis. And you're looking at a situation where all of a sudden, from being 6 points from second, you're now 7 points off the relegation zone, and you're sliding fast. It's not easy to get out of these ruts.
No.
Not only are they losing every week, more and more players are getting injured. More and more players are just exhausted. They're running to the ground. Nobody's been brought in this January to help out, even short term. Even if it was just to get us over the next 2 or 3 weeks till other players came back in. They haven't brought anybody. You've got a major problem. 2 weeks from today, we could be looking back at the last 4 or 5 days, and we've been smashed out of both cups. We've lost at Brentford. I expect us to get through against Elfsborg. Elfsborg are in the middle of their mid-season break, which is a big help for us, massive help for us. So we may well just slide through there in the top 8. Failing that, we've got another 2 games, 13th and 20th of Feb. So we've got another 8 games in 4 weeks. We could be looking at we're out of both trophies in 2 weeks' time, and we're shorter players, and we're going into a playoff in the Europa. It could be catastrophic. Why not get somebody? He should have had somebody in by now to lift the club and give them a chance of actually progressing in the cup competitions.
Okay,
we're just going downhill fast.
the question is who, because like Si said earlier, and I said yesterday on the show that no manager in their right mind is going to come here, right? It literally look at the last 3 managers we've employed, and look at the manager merry-go-round we've had to go through. We broke a record of being managerless for the most amount of time before a season started, right? And we ended up getting our 7th choice, which was Nuno at the time. And we've never gone for our first choice. And how many managers turn us down? And the more that this kind of scenario that happens at Spurs year in, year out, the more managers are going to wake up. And kind of like what Stel was alluding to earlier, Ian, is that it's gonna be a young manager or a manager, someone in the Ange, or in the ilk of Ange, who wants to prove himself, who wants to have the challenge. But a lot of times it's going to be very, in the way that this club is run, it's not gonna work. And because we don't have the top level players to make it work, it's going to be a disaster for anyone who comes into this club. So anyone in their right mind to come and work with Daniel Levy, they're gonna ruin their career. Is what most managers do.
Ian, can I just let Si say goodnight quickly, because he needs to pop off.
Yeah, guys, thanks for this. Much love to you all and everyone out there.
Good night, Si.
Yeah, I'm going to go as well. Good night, guys.
We're going to wrap up soon anyway, so have a good one. By the way, anyone into crypto, NFT, metaverse, and all that, check out Si's channel, The Whales of Wall Street. I do have a link somewhere here. There it is. Whales of Wall Street. Simon is an absolute don when it comes to this stuff. Go check it out.
Love you guys. It's been a fantastic panel, and I hope you'll see you all soon.
See you later, Si. Big up. Have a good one, mate. Thanks for coming on.
The key, I think, Danny, the key thing is,
guys, we'll go 10 more minutes, okay? Then I'll wrap it up. 10 more.
Someone's got to come in and stop the rot. They've got to stop the free fall at the moment, and we can worry about a new manager in the summer.
Yeah, I agree. Like Sav has been going on about, tap Redknapp up with a packet of jam roly-polies, get him in for the rest of the season.
I'd be on board with Redknapp 100%. Everyone would be on board with Redknapp.
And Danny, just to be clear, I completely agree with you on the way it looks like Levy is pushing some of the fans out. Right, let's just get it straight. He wants the ultras out, right? He doesn't want that toxicity. He doesn't want that type of fan. He wants a kind of fan that's going to pay their money, buy the drinks, buy the food, come for a nice day out, and have a good experience. And then on top of that, he sells the extras, the F1, the Skywalk, the stadium tours. That's what he wants. He wants an experience. It's an experience now rather than the football thing. So I completely agree with you on that. I really do. And I've said this before. I've been a Spurs fan for God knows how many years. I live in an area which is predominantly Spurs fans over where I live, and the amount of people that I speak to and I say to them, oh yeah, I go on this podcast, we talk about this, we talk about it, what do you think? They've got absolutely no interest in the politics of Spurs. No interest whatsoever. All they want to do is go for a nice day out, go and watch a match. If we lose, that's all right. It's always next week, and then off they go. And these guys,
they're not invested, Lee. They're not invested.
Some of them have spent 10 grand on a season ticket.
They're not invested. They're not. Spurs isn't this big thing in their life. It's not this kind of something that it is literally a getaway from the daily life for a couple of hours on the weekend. Okay, I got my release. They live, eat, breathe, die, sing, swim. Talk.
Even me. So I've switched off this season. Like when I saw that summer window, I just switched off. Like after I didn't pay attention, but after I saw it, I just switched off. Like I've watched a handful of games this season. Like genuinely a handful of games.
After this show, right, go on Tottenham away, and go to the post-match Man City game where we won 4-0. And everyone on the panel thought there was something wrong with me. They said, and Ian called me afterwards. Bless him. Still, are you all right? I'm just genuinely checking up. You don't seem happy when we win. You don't seem to like anything. What people couldn't understand with me was,
I thought you were depressed.
Yeah, I think I was. I think I was. Right, and the thing is, what people didn't realize was, Danny, I was broken, man. That window killed me. That when we signed Werner, I don't think people really understand. When we signed Werner, I knew everything that was coming because I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe we re-signed him, and I thought, oh my God, there's no project, there's no plan. And from that day, I've just slowly gone down. And I get, Danny, I get what you're saying, but now everyone's there. Now everyone's where I was. Now they've kind of all right. Now we get it. I just.
But
it's
the
crazy.
thing is, right? If Ange, the sad thing is, still, if Ange gets sacked, right? If he does, it's just going to take all the attention away from Levy. I guarantee you, I will put money on it that will happen, right? Because
I don't think this time, because he's culpable.
Lee,
he brought him in. He brought him in. I think that's why people are turning though. It's a combination of the fact that Ange is doing so bad and he's culpable for bringing him in, because we know for a fact that he was only brought in because he was Munn's mate, right? It's nothing to do with him being scouted. It was Munn's mate. So he's culpable for appointing him. I think that's why a lot of people and a lot of other channels are turning this time. They're turning towards him.
I don't agree with it. I don't agree with that. The reason I say that is because I've seen it where fans start to get a bit agitated with the way we've been with other managers. I'm telling you now, Spurs fans in general are fickle, right? They change their minds every 2 seconds. That's what fans are like. It's just that's how life is.
Just Alex.
No, I'm telling you now, right? I guarantee you, if Ange gets sacked, right? What will happen is, if Ange gets sacked, Mason will be employed till the end of the season, right? We go through a manager roller coaster in the summertime. We then get someone we don't really want, and then we're going to go through the same process again. And it's all going to be about how the manager's tactics are, who we're going to sign. It's just going to be the same story all over again. I'm telling you this now.
Yeah, but Danny, we can't watch the club like literally disintegrate like this, though. We are in free fall. Like, our form is outrageous.
Of course it is, but
and we've got the tough games coming up now, Danny. Now we've got the tough games coming up.
But I can't understand why people think it's going to get any better with Mason in charge. I really don't understand.
I don't want Mason in charge. I don't want Mason in charge.
But Alex, it's going to be no one else, mate. No one else is coming to this club right now.
That's why I think. That's why I'm saying at the moment I wouldn't want Ange to go.
Why do you think Daniel Levy hasn't pulled the trigger on Ange yet? Like,
okay, gents, let me ask you. Hold on, Alex. Let me ask you this and Danny this question. What would you rather have? Would you rather have Ange playing a 4-3-3 with inverted fullbacks that gets exposed every week and lets in goals like they're going out of fashion, or would you rather have Mason that played a 4-3-3, stopped the inversion, kept a back four, kept a number 6 in the position to keep that back four for the rest of the season to make us more consistent? I know he's not as good a manager, but what would you rather have? Because that's what I see would happen.
I would rather Ange at this moment, because I think if he gets the players,
so that could lead us to relegation.
I don't care,
because that's the way the form's. So you'd rather have relegation than staying in the Premier League just because Mason?
I genuinely wouldn't care. Like, I genuinely.
Danny, you aside. The majority of fans, if you did a poll right now, I think 99% would say stay up.
Yeah, of course they would. But do you know what, Stel? Like,
the board are going to look at that, aren't they? Surely the board are going to think.
I'd be interested to see what it'd be like for the club if we were actually to get relegated, because we actually might have a chance of winning a trophy. In the
financially, without debts, we would be in major. The bank.
I know.
The debts.
Still, listen. All the bills are being paid. The banks won't call it in. There'll be concerns, but if you're paying the bills. Look at the money. Look at the money the Glazers have raked out of Man. That's the wrong word. That have taken out of Man United. But all the United fans tell me they're covering all the bills, all the interest bills, everything. That's Man United. They're the biggest club one of the biggest clubs in the world with Real Madrid. So if you cover your bills, you're okay. For me personally, I would take relegation if it gets rid of Enoch. Because for me, if he's here for another 28 years, we're going nowhere. This club is dead.
I agree, Ian. I agree.
Hold on. Still, just 1 minute, though. But hold on, Ian. If you're talking about relegation, right, guys, it's not just about the relegation of Spurs. You're talking about a mass exodus and a fire sale at Spurs, right? Who do you think is actually going to stay? Romero will be gone. Van der Ven will be gone. Udogie will be gone. Porro will be gone.
Maddison will be gone.
Bentancur will be gone. Maddison will be gone.
Yeah,
Richie will be gone. We'll be left with
Richie will
absolutely
stay.
no one.
I think Richie will stay.
Richie might stay, yeah. Richie might stay. But also you're talking about a team that gets relegated. You will be losing value in those players because the club will have to accept money for them. We won't be getting 80, 90 million for Romero from Real Madrid.
We won't get that anyway.
They'll be out.
Lee,
Honestly,
Lee,
you can't hold their value if you're a championship team.
These players are going to go anyway. They're going to leave anyway.
But we got more of a chance of them staying next season if we're still in the Premier League. If we get relegated, they're gone. Absolutely. We'll be ending up with Lancashire and Yang.
I wouldn't care because I think Romero's gone anyway, regardless. Anyway, next season.
I don't disagree with you, Alex. I really don't.
But I would say, by the way you put that question, I'll take Mason all day long because I can't stand Ange.
Do you know something?
I think Ange would do better than when he gets the players back than what Mason can do.
I'm sorry, Danny, I don't agree with that.
Please don't.
That's fine.
Please don't. Danny, I'll give you a spreadsheet right now. Our win rate with our first back four is no better than with the standing back four.
Davis has been our best
over the season. It's no better.
Let sink in.
Yeah,
let that sink in. Davis has been our best defender, but
can I say something? Relegation 20, 30 years ago wasn't the end of the world. I think now the stakes are so high financially that if a big club with a big stadium gets relegated, it's catastrophic because suddenly you're not commanding the ticket prices you command now. That has to go down. You're not in Europe. That's gone. Then you're not going to be able to afford the wages that you pay now. We already have a tight wage bill. That would have to drop. Then, like you said, fire sale of players. Everything that we do would have to be completely restructured, and we'd be sitting in this 62,000 seater white elephant that we might not even pack for some games. Let's say it's Spurs versus Port Vale. Maybe we don't pack that. Maybe the ticket prices have to be 25 quid. And then your shirt sponsors, Nike, do they want to sponsor a team in the Championship? Is that where their focus is? I don't know. If we were to go down, there would be massive repercussions. Massive. The value of the club drops as well. So maybe Enoch would be like, fucking hell, get out. This is sinking shit.
That'd be guaranteed. They'll want to sell the club. They want to sell it.
Or maybe they'd want to wait, get back in the Premier League where it goes up in value, then sell. Who knows? With this,
the NFL coming to a championship stadium, not a chance. F1, not a chance. Honestly, it's all gone.
And still, Lee, right, and everyone on the panel, that is a possibility after Leicester City. Because let's be honest here, we're in free fall at the moment.
If we keep Ange.
And let's be honest here, we have not got the players. We have not got the players, and I don't care what you talk about Archie Graham, Burval, and all these players. Sorry, they're not cut out for this at the moment. They're not cut out for this, right?
The thing is, Alex, those players,
they are in a relegation. They're in relegation. They're not here to fight.
Do you know what the funny thing is? Those players wouldn't have those chances if we didn't have this injury crisis, and they wouldn't have been some of our better performers. Those two kids have been they've been the best players, I think, in the last couple of weeks, even though we've been losing, right? They've actually looked like the ones that actually want to try. Yeah, but it looks like they want to try more than any of the other players that have been wanting to try.
You're going to make me please now. You're going to make Lubo please now.
That makes you great. That makes you great. It's generational.
I agree with Danny that the youngsters are the ones, right? The youngsters are the ones putting up the fight. The young players are the ones that are showing the fight.
Even Mikey Moore. I've seen more from Mikey Moore, and even though he hasn't
been showing the fight,
his cameo, I'll give you that.
They're showing more fight than the senior players, and that's because they're young. They've got the legs in them. They want to prove something.
Yeah, they're hungry. Danny, they're hungry.
This is why it's frustrating that Ange hasn't been picking the youngsters and rotating the players enough. Right?
Agreed.
He should be rotating the players. The youngsters should be given a chance. In this state that we're in, right? Why are you consistently using your first team players over and over again and running them into the ground and getting injuries when you've got youngsters on the bench? Just give them the chance. You've got nothing to lose right now. We've literally got nothing to lose. We're losing every game as it is. You might as well give them the chance. And I think you'd see more passion in those youngsters than you do in the senior players. Because
Danny, again, we're losing to Leicester. You've only got one striker on the bench, a kid, and he doesn't bring on Lancashire. He wasted the night.
It's stupid. I agree with those stupid decisions. But can we sit here and say Ryan Mason's going to do exactly the same thing as not Ange?
I think one.
No,
I
I don't
think
think he
Mason
will.
brings on a striker. I think he'll bring on Lancashire. I think he would.
I
Who did he
honestly do
bring on?
think as well.
See if it, but look, it doesn't. For me, like I said, I don't care whether it's Mason or Ange.
I don't want Mason,
think
by
it's
the way.
gonna
As well.
change
I don't
much.
want Mason or Ange.
I've
want
always
Mason.
said, Stel. I said I never wanted to see Mason manage his club again, and I will stick by that, right? Because that to me again is another sign of where this club is at. How this club is so poisoned from the core of this club. And this is why, like, when he left last time, I said I never want to see Mason at this club, managing this club again. And if he comes in as an interim manager for a third stint, it just goes to show how fucking stupid this club is and how much of a joke and a circus it really is.
I agree with you.
To have him as an interim manager for a third time in like
He
what
shouldn't
3
even be here
times
in the first place,
in
Danny.
6 years, and this is the whole point, Lee. He shouldn't even be here in the first place. Yet he's going to go for a third time as interim manager. It's just a fucking disgrace.
Well,
It's
we've
an
had
absolute disgrace. This is how this club is being run. This is why
I'm absolutely
this
sure
is why,
Levy's got a little lead.
Do you know why, Lee?
in his office, which says Mason with a little Mason
Yeah,
tag on it.
probably
He walks
does.
him around the training ground.
He's got like
afterwards,
Mason
takes him out for a
rosary beads or
wee,
something.
Danny,
cleans up his poos after him.
we could have had slots at the club before Ange.
Yeah, but he was clever enough.
The papers all reported he wouldn't pay the release clause fee, would he?
Yeah, because but also I know, but he was smart enough to turn down Spurs, right? He was not stupid. But the problem
he didn't
is
turn Spurs down. He didn't turn Spurs down. No, he didn't.
So what was it? What, money because of it?
Of course.
Money.
Finally,
Then it's the club as usual. But
I think they wanted 7. I read in the papers they wanted 17 million plus there would have been compensation for Slot's team.
It's stupid, but do you know what the funny thing is, right? What I find hilarious is the fact that nothing changes at this club, regardless of who. We could get Areola in the summertime. We could get whoever. We could get Pep Guardiola. Nothing's going to change, right? Because one of the other biggest. Well, we've got so many problems at this club. You've got the diabolical medical team, which we've had for the last 15 years. Whoever's been in charge of our medical department has been a joke for the last 10, 15 years. We've had terrible injury problems. Again, we never have enough depth in the squad, never have enough quality. And the biggest problem, I think, personally, at a club at our level, is the wage structure at this club, because it's so bad, right? And if you look at all the players that we brought in, and we're bringing in youngsters, right? It's because the wages are far lower. If I could tell you about Steven Bergwijn still when he joined the club, right? And I'd probably take him right now, but the reasons why he came in was a financial reason, and the way they structured the deal and his wages. It was everything about Tottenham is always going to be about money under this club, under this owner, and that's the problem. And the reason why I don't want to see Mason is because I just want to see what happens if Ange is in charge. Personally, that's just how I feel. I know we're in a dogfight. I personally still think,
Danny, we're seeing it. We're seeing it, Danny. We see it every week.
I still think we won't get relegated with Ange when the players come back. I still think we will not get relegated. Right?
What an ambitious way of thinking about keeping Ange.
It doesn't matter. That's where we are. But that's where we are. I don't want to see Mason in this club. I don't want to see Mason manage this team again. Personally,
listen,
that's me.
I'm gonna wrap it up. I'll just go around. Everyone can have their final say and whatnot. Ian, where are you at? Say your good nights as well. We'll call it.
Gray is a great player, though. I'm not gonna lie, Ian. He is a good player.
Thank you very much. That's what I've been saying. He will be at that 40 million will be one of the best 40 million pounds the club has spent.
I actually agree with Ian. I think the maturity in Gray's game and his ability to read the game, his awareness, his calmness and composure on the ball for his age, what he's doing. I mean, even now he's been running to the ground because he's not.
He gives the ball away a lot, though.
But he's young. He's going to learn. But he's also, you've got to remember, still, he's playing in so many different positions. He's been right back.
I'm getting sucked into an Archie Gray chat. No. Ian, have your final say. I'm not doing this.
Oh God.
Like Cooper said, let's get the marshmallows out and let's get on the Ange train and watch the comical comedy show and unveil.
Yeah. Let's hope Savas initiative works. That's all. So I'll go to bed and pray for that. You know, if there's a God up there, look down on our Spurs fans, please. Get rid of these owners, for Christ's sake.
I agree, 100%, without a doubt. I've been yes. Alex, final words. Make sure you check out Alex's channel. By the way, I'll put a banner down below now.
All I will say is Ange out, Levy out, and I'm done. Back to you, still. I'm done.
Oh, a few words from Alex. That's rare. There's his channel down there. Make sure you follow him. Truth and entertainer. Lee.
Not much to say, mate, to be honest with you. Ange out, Lange out, Mange out.
Levy out.
Levy out.
I'm gonna
Cullen
say
out.
Ange. I'm gonna say Ange in. Everyone else get the fuck out of the club.
You want to watch us? You want to watch us on ITV next season against Plymouth and Millwall and QPR, don't you?
It'd be more
Mate,
fun.
do you know how much money we will save not paying for Sky, TNT Sport? Fantastic.
Still, do you fancy Bristol City next year? Fancy that trip?
Do you know what? 1 year in the Championship, it'd be different. It'd be a bit more real. Stadiums are a bit more old school. I'm up for it. Why not?
It'd be quite fun as well. No VAR.
Big up to Terry O'Shea for the super chat, and also to BSB Radio, to Chung, Tom, channel member. Thank you so much. London Brawl for the super chat. Anthony Enrico, Time to Dare, Anthony Lafleur, Savo with a couple of super chats, 3 or 4 super chats actually. Thank you for all yours as well, Savo. Appreciate it each and every time. Guys, thanks for being on, and all the others that were on earlier. When are we next on? What day is it today? Monday. I've got a video coming out this week at some point on my channel. I say my channel. Our channel, Tottenham Away, and on Tottenham on Tour at the same time. Brian and I are going to put a video out regarding the Levy out, what we try and just bring everyone together. Message from Brian and I. That'll come out at some point this week. Otherwise, I'm not doing a show on Thursday. I can't be bothered. No, I'm going. I'm actually going. I'm actually going to that game. Yeah, my friends, they're taking their kids and they got like a package of tickets.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Didn't ask me if I wanted to go. Anyway.
I'm clapping on Thursday. Sunday, we'll be back for the match, post-match show in the evening. Come check that one out. Otherwise, guys, thanks for watching. Appreciate you all. And we're out of here.
Leave you out.
Enoch out. Everything, everyone out.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.